Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Friday, October 28th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We have a packed show today, packed show. Bobano joining us. We have CFL. We have NHL. We have NCAA football. We roll into MLB. And then Dutch Boy Fresh joins us for NBA. We lost a great man last night, a friend of the channel. He was the host of our sketch comedy show here, For the Love of Balls. Tim Steves died last night. Courageous battle with pancreas cancer. And I was there. We were with him. Cashed his last bet on the Ravens. And as soon as he cashed it, he man, so it was a good spot for him being on the other side of me. He had watched our breakdown and went against me. God, he was just so strong, and the world's just a little less funny. And I just love the guy. So, Tim Steves, God, I fucking miss you, man. I fucking miss you. Okay.
We do this together. We ride together.
Thank you guys all so much for joining us. Jose, thank you. We got a big baseball card that you'll be on here. Dan Kelly, Viper NB, Fanatical Jim, Jedi for Life, Spenny, Leo.
This is why we all do this together, lads. This is why we all watch the show together. We appreciate everyone. We stick together in these times, and we appreciate our lad, Jimmy the Bag, of course, as always. Dan even started off the show with some kind words to Jimmy the Bag, of course, and then we all live by these words today. So, Jimmy, we believe in you. You can do this.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm good.
Yes,
I'm
and
good.
I like your hat.
Thank you. It's all good. It was an interesting night last night. The Canucks cashed for us on the money line.
I did see that. I also tailed that, by the way, because of course. And our teams made a trade too. You're welcome. I don't know who we traded. I woke up and I saw a Jake, and I was like, did we just trade Jake DeBrusk? It was not that Jake.
No, DeBrusk is a big piece of the puzzle for you guys. He's a great player. And also, I hope you guys saw what went down in college football. I should have swept the board. We figured out, capping together, what the Sharps could see on Southern Miss. It was just a no-pressure, easy casher. We saw what we worked out in the Virginia Tech game, what the Sharps saw on Virginia Tech. That was as easy as it could be. And if I had obviously there were some issues with Utah not having Cameron Rising in the lineup, but if I had gone full game instead of the first half, we would have swept the board there. NBA 1-3, so that was a little disappointing. It was disappointing. The leans took care of things. And that's where we stand. So I'm ready to get to work here. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. If you do want to check out For the Love of Balls, that was our show here at Pub, or just check out Tim Steves on YouTube. Great sets. He's easily one of the best comics this country's ever produced. So I'll just put him here. It's the show that we did that you can find at Pub Sports Radio is For the Love of Balls.
A Tim Steves production.
Yeah, that was the show. And the stand-up comic is Tim Steves. I met him. I hosted for him at the Comedy Wood uptown at Bathurst and Steeles when I was 19 years old. And it's his poker game that I play for the last 25 years. Went to Vegas with him a couple times. So do check him out. Do check him out if you have some time. All right, we are going to start in CFL football, but shout out to all you guys joining us. LJ from H-Town says first quarter Dallas was easy money, baby. You know, it was funny staying off of the Mavericks and seeing you guys end up cashing. I felt good that you guys did, but, you know, there was a reason why the market wasn't moving towards them. But it was a good casher for you guys. The Warriors took care of business. I think off a loss, they should probably just be backed, but you can't simplify things too easy. Mike M in the house cashed that pimp slap play today last night. Thank you for being a member here. Isaiah B said, told you all about OKC first quarter. Yeah, and should have been back full game. That was a mistake by me. It was a mistake by me. Expecting Paul George to come in here and change everything was a mistake. Bo Jackson says, what a night. Cashed on Canadians, Sharks, Warriors, Mavs. Beautiful, beautiful work. Spenny Penny bombs, Nucks, and Jets came through late. Yes, that was another spot where I would have been on the Kings for sure. I would have been on. There's no doubt that I was going to be on the Kings in that hockey game, and I wasn't because the Sharps were on the Jets, so I just stayed off. I really think that works. If your action is going up against the Sharps, who are you to be better than the syndicates or the supercomputers or the big-time professional gamblers? And that was a mistake that I made in my ignorance when I started doing this publicly, was I thought I was really good. I think that if you focus on what correlates with the sharp action, you're going to make a lot of money. You're going to make a lot of money in this business. So let's fire off. Ethan Payson attended his first hockey game in Nashville last night, and let me tell you, I'm hooked. What a game to watch live. What a great call by Birdie on the Predators. And interesting. The Flyers, Panthers, another spot where the breaking down the game said bet the under, but the Sharps were on the over, so we stayed off of that. It doesn't matter that the quantity of the action is going to go down. What matters is that we win and we succeed. That's all that matters. Johnny Gunn says, I went up against the Sharps last night with the Ravens. Now so nervous, but the chance you take sometimes. Absolutely. And if you know you're doing it, that's, and so did Tim Steves, who cashed his last bet. It was wild. It was right when the game ended. All right. Bobana will be joining us shortly. We are going to be starting in CFL. We've turned the season around a little bit in the last few weeks. We're going to be starting with the BC Lions, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Let's get into the line history and the cash flow right now, because we do have to stay on a pretty strict timeline because we have Dutch Boy Fresh. He will be joining us here for NBA. Dutch is not on NBA Pub Hub today, so if you want Dutch's action, basketball action, you have to join us on Fridays, and we're going to be figuring that out as the season goes on. But let's get to work here. And this CFL card is ugly. Every team has clinched their playoff berth, and it's not impossible to find angles, and we are going to dive into them, but these are meaningless games for every team except maybe Nate Rourke as the quarterback for the Lions, and a few players the Bombers have coming in that have been hurt, a couple wide receivers. But we'll talk about all this right now with your first guest. He will be joining us for CFL, NHL, NCAA football, and MLB, and then we will trade him out for Dutch Boy Fresh. Please welcome to the show from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow, Ian Cameron in the house. Ian, how are you?
Good to be with you, Jimmy. What's up? Sorry to hear about the news, that Tim Steves news. I couldn't believe it when I heard it because we knew he'd made a contribution to this channel here at Pub Sports Radio. It's terribly sad, and condolences to him and his family. A great stand-up career. Very well aware of the great funny man that he was. Did a lot of specials in Canadian television. So rest in peace, Tim Steeves. It's awful news. And I know people that have lost lives because of cancer. I'm sick of hearing about it.
Yeah, it's tough. I remember the first ever. I saw him on TV before I met him. Like as a young kid, and I remember I remember his Just for Laughs special. That was his first big special.
Yep.
He came on stage and he said, they gave him an okay applause, but he said, "You're gonna have to give me more than that. Took me 10 years to get here." And from that moment on, they gave him a bigger applause. But from that moment on, he had that gala audience in the palm of his hands. Like he had complete control over that audience. He taught me so much about gambling and comedy. It's a tough loss for laughter. The guy brought a lot of it. And thank you for the kind words. Let's get to work here. Babano, BC Lions, Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Lions 12-5, 6-2 on the road. Bombers 14-3, 7-1 at home at IG Field in Winnipeg, Manitoba. 50 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy. 4 miles per hour is the weather. Again, these games don't matter, so they are tricky, but not impossible to find angles. Lions open up here at +4.5 at Pinnacle. They're now +3.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 51.5 and is now at 50.5. Lions are guaranteed the home playoff game against the Stamps next weekend. The Bombers have been locked in to first place. It feels like all year long. They officially clinched it after they destroyed the Elks in Week 18. Then, if you guys remember, we had a Week 19 game when the Bombers had sealed up first place. There had been that big market move, and we were so confident that the Lions were going to cash. So confident, first half in full game. And what happened there was wild. They held the Lions to 138 passing yards. Drew Brown was strong, and the only reason why we cashed everything was because of pick sixes that Drew Brown threw, but he still moved the ball much better than the Lions moved the ball. It was a strange game, and it was a 102-yard interception return that sealed the deal for us. We weren't going to cash that full game. Winnipeg put up 399 yards of offense. And here they're expected to play most of their starters, and they get Greg Ellingson and Drew Wolotarski back in practice, so we expect that they want to get those two receivers game ready. This is by far the best team in the league. 60 touchdowns for, 31 against. They hold teams to 21.2 points per game. They're a very good football team. How good are the BC Lions? We are not sure. We know that with Nathan Rourke under center that they were very good, but Winnipeg came into BC in Week 5 and destroyed the Lions 43-22 with Rourke under center. Burnham, who Babano's been talking about all year, has been a revelation this year, and Lucky Whitehead have both been out, and they're not going to be coming back for this one. Is there an angle to find here, Babano? I didn't talk about the total. Yes, I did. They're opening up at 51.5, now at 50.5. Take it away, my man.
Yeah, this one I think I'm going to look at BC first half here. And I'm going to make that official. BC +3, -120 first half. I would like to have something involved from a betting standpoint with Nathan Rourke, because I know, and he could be rusty. I get that, but this kid always keeps himself ready. You know what I mean? And my gosh, before I continue, what is this incredible generosity that I see here in the chat from JPZ? $50 dono. Are you shitting me? Wow. JPZ, that's awesome.
What a guy.
We appreciate that very much. I know Jeff does, everybody with the channel. That's awesome. We love you, JPZ, because you're in the chat all the time, every show, supporting everyone that's on this channel. It's great stuff. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jay. But you've given us so much more also with, having the soundtrack for our show and for the daily session. And you're just your quality, man. Thank you.
That's awesome. That's awesome stuff. JPZ, thank you for that. So it looks like for Winnipeg, they're going to have their starters in, including Colaros. I know Greg Ellingson's coming back from time away due to injury. Same thing with Jackson Jeffcoat for Winnipeg. So they're going to end up playing. It is a tricky game, but I think BC in the first half, I just like having BC in the first half with Rourke coming back. I think there's going to be that excitement for the Lions. And not that there's not going to be excitement for Winnipeg, but for Winnipeg, it's all about what are we going to do in 2 weeks from now, trying to win a third Grey Cup. I think for BC, you want to still maintain a winning feeling and momentum going into next week when you host the Calgary Stampeders in the West semifinal. But I think for BC, if you like them, knowing we're only going to see Rourke for a quarter, according to Coach Rick Campbell, it's one of those spots where if you like BC, you may want to get in and get out in the first half and avoid the full game. Because as you know, Winnipeg, if we do see Drew Brown later in the game, he actually played well in BC, and now he's playing at home, and BC's going to have replacements and backups in. And let's not forget Winnipeg's starters, or backups rather, they almost beat BC's starters, in that game a couple weeks ago. That was not an easy game for BC, the one that we were all loving BC until that pick six that put it away. So I'd rather have BC in the first half here rather than the full game. So I'm going to go with BC first half. You can find that +3, -120 right now. DraftKings and Pinnacle both have that number.
Well, let's lock you in on it, Bobano. I'm going to stay off of this spot. I'm not sure if I'm going to find an angle that I trust in the CFL card, but Bobano, Lions.
I do have two more sides, believe it or not. So
I love it. No, that's great.
Yeah.
I love it. So we'll hammer away. Bobano's on the Lions first half +3 at -120. That's the only game in CFL this evening. We have 3 popping off tomorrow. Saturday, October 29th, 2 p.m. Eastern, Montreal Alouettes, 8-9, 4-4 on the road at the Toronto Argos, 11-6, 5-3 at home. We're at BMO Field in Toronto, Ontario, 48 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 miles per hour. I don't have to look out my pigeon shit-filled balcony across from the government housing to see that stadium anymore, and I'm thankful. I'm fucking thankful. Let's see what we're talking about here. Odds-wise, we have the Argos opening up as 3.5-point favorites at 8:09 this morning. They went to 3-point favorites right now. For a total perspective, opened up at 49.5 and is now at 48.5. And this one, I think I have an idea where you are going, but I'm not going to tease it. But Argos edged the Owls 24-23 to clinch first place in the East. So they'll have a bye week, and then they'll host the Eastern Final on November 13th. And because of that, Chad Kelly will be starting. And I know that this will probably pique Bobano's interest with Chad Kelly. And Chad Kelly's got a lot to prove. This defense was strong all year, dealt with injuries, 22.8 points allowed per game, and the secondary had 27 interceptions. And the Alouettes will also be resting their quarterback, Trevor Harris. So we're going to see Dominique Davis and Davis Alexander. I don't know a ton about Alexander, although, he's never taken a snap as a professional quarterback, but they talked a lot about him in the preseason in very positive ways. And then we know Dominique Davis, he has 12 touchdowns this year. He's the short yardage specialist, and he can be very helpful. But as a starting quarterback or on the field, he's got 12 touchdowns and 20 interceptions in his career. And their center is starting. Their starting center is not going to be in the lineup, Sean Jameson, which is not helpful for either of these two quarterbacks. So the more I talk about it, the more I think I know where you're going, and I'm a little surprised the line's gone from 3.5 to 3. Take it away for us, Bobano. Alouettes, Argos.
Actually, this is the game I passed on of the 4 games, so I'm not going anywhere with this game. I guess I'd take Toronto if I had to, but they wrapped up the East, and we don't know for sure if Chad Kelly's going to be great. He hasn't had significant CFL starting opportunities yet. And let's not forget, we're going to get Dominique Davis for a first half with Montreal, and this guy has started a ton of games in the CFL. So you talk about experience. Dominique Davis actually has the edge here for Montreal, and you're going to get him for a first half. Obviously, that changes when Davis Alexander enters the game. But I don't know. To me, the thing I would move on, if anything, would be the under. It's probably going to be one of those, let's run the football a lot. Let's get the game over with. These are, remember, 2 teams that have a chance to play each other in a couple of weeks from now in the East Final, should Montreal, although I hope they don't, survive my Hamilton Ticats next week. But so I think it's just keep things very, very simple, conservative game plans. And I think the under is the way I would lean here. But this is the one game of this card that I have no play on.
I think you're right. They're also not going to want to show anything from the playbook.
Yeah.
So, I think you're right. I think that's why this total is going down. I think this is an under. It is nice weather for football here in Toronto on Saturday, but I think that makes sense. I think I may move on that under. I think I'm going to move on that under. I think you've talked me into that under.
I think it makes sense. I do.
Yeah.
I mean,
let's move on to 5 p.m. Eastern. Your Hamilton Ticats 7-10 with this ugly 1-7 road record at the Ottawa Redblacks 4-13 with an even uglier 0-8 home record. They've lost 11 straight games at home. We're at TD Place in Ottawa, Ontario, and it's warmer out east. As the further you go out east, it gets warmer. It's 57 Fahrenheit, 6 miles per hour. It's nicer out there than it is here in Toronto. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. We have the Ticats opening up at -3. They're now -1.5. So it's moving towards Ottawa. This total at 49.5 is now at 49. Let's take a look here for a quick breakdown. Ticats have clinched third in the East. They will be in Montreal for the East semifinals next week, and that will be enjoyable. And they didn't make it easy on themselves. They won 30-27. We were both on the Redblacks in that game.
Yep.
And now the idea is, who is going to play with pride here? It's got to be the Redblacks, doesn't it? I mean, don't they want to stop this 0-8 home record? I mean, isn't the Ticats probably just don't care about this at all? But I'd like to hear your take, and you have the feet on the ground in Hamilton. Take it away here, Tiger Cats, Redblacks.
So Dane Evans is going to play maybe a couple of drives, if anything, and they're not even sure he's going to play. And I'm even hearing rumblings they may not even be willing to throw Matt Schultz in there in this game. And keep in mind, Evans got banged up at the end of the Ottawa game last week that they won. So I honestly don't think they're going to play Evans here. And I'm hearing that they're very reluctant to play Schultz for a full quarter, which means it could be a whole lot of Jamie Newman at quarterback for the Ticats. And if you remember Jamie Newman's one opportunity as a starter back on Labor Day against Toronto, it didn't go well. It was a struggle. It was not very good. I think if you're the Ticats, with some injuries that you've been dealing with all year, it's get this game done. Get it done. Whereas and Ottawa's got a shit ton of injuries too, all right? That's the one unfortunate thing with Ottawa. They're playing their asses off every week for this new head coach, Bob Dice, but they can't avoid the injury bug. They've had a bunch on defense. I don't know if Jalen Ackland's going to play in this game at receiver. He's been injured for a bit. But the one thing I think you can guarantee with Ottawa here is effort. I think is a will to compete, a will to win. They really like this guy. I've seen it. I mean, this looks like a completely different energy coming from the Ottawa Redblacks in the games since Paul LaPolice got fired and Bob Dice took over. Look at the games. They beat Montreal Thanksgiving as a dog. They almost beat Montreal in the rematch. In fact, they had Montreal trailing most of that game before Montreal rallied late to beat Ottawa. And then last week, that game means everything to Hamilton to finally clinch that playoff spot over Saskatchewan. And there's Ottawa making it a life and death situation for the Ticats just to win that game at home last week. So this is an Ottawa play for me once again. +2, -116 at bookmaker, best number, Ottawa Redblacks. I'm on it. I think they win this football game, and I just think you get them bringing it here. Final home game. They want, I think, this coach back next year. The players do, because I think they really like him. And for Hamilton, I think it's just they don't give two shits about this game. Get to the East semifinal next week in Montreal.
I love it. I absolutely love it. This is I think you're bang on and you've nailed it here, and I'm going to be running with
Love
you.
my team, but hey, I took Ottawa last week, came through, back to it this week. And I actually think the fact that they lost a heartbreaker to Hamilton last week, even though that was the game where, you can always say, well, that was the game Ottawa was up for because they wanted to put a blow into Hamilton's playoff hopes. But now Hamilton's in the playoffs, so they're going to have that same spirit to want to beat them. I think for this head coach that's on the sideline that they really like, I think the answer to that is yes.
I love it. I'm going to run with you. I'm probably just going to move on the money line here, but this makes sense to me. It makes it. I knew that if we did put time and energy into these games, even though they were not important, that we would take care of business here. I like it. Let's go to
the only thing is Ottawa's still not won at home yet this year, right? That's the one thing they've got to overcome, the Edmonton Elks syndrome. They have not won a home game yet this year, the Ottawa Redblacks. It's the one thing that concerns you, but God, if they're ever going to do it, holy shit, it's got to be this week. And Caleb Evans, by the way, will be the starter, not Nick Arbuckle. They're interchangeable. It's not like one is super, super stronger or better than the other. So it is what it is. Caleb Evans can play at least a little bit. He started a bunch of games. Hopefully he plays well here.
I like it. I like it. Let's move on to the final one. 8 p.m. Eastern, Saskatchewan Roughriders. What a terrible season that they put together. It's shockingly bad. 6-11, 3-5 on the road. Calgary Stampeders 11-6, but just 4-4 at home this year. We're at McMahon Stadium, 45 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 11 miles per hour. Another game where there is nothing on the line. Let's take a look at the line history here in this one. You have here we go. The Stamps open up -7.5. They're now -5.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 49.5 and is now 49. Stamps had nothing to play for last week, and as you thought might happen, they had an easy victory on the road at Mosaic. You got Bo Levi Mitchell, you got Dedrick Mills. I mean, these guys are fighting for an opportunity to play in this league, and they're showing it out. This is an offense that's 30.9 points per game, and with these two guys in, how much is that a drop off? I mean, they have so much to prove. Now they have problems, and we'll break them down more when we get into the playoffs. But the benching of Cody Fajardo for Mason Fine last week was, like you said, it was they were reaching. And they were panicking, and it's a bad look for everybody in the organization. How does the final game of the season bang out?
Bangs out with Saskatchewan going out with a whimper, just like they did last week. Calgary -5 to me. I think that's a slam dunk decision to bet it. Now, does it mean they're for sure going to win and cover? No. And does this game really mean anything? No. Did the game mean anything last week to Calgary? No, it didn't. Well, they still went into Saskatchewan and smacked down a team that was fighting for their playoff lives. Saskatchewan, stick a fork in Saskatchewan. They're done. All right, this team's quit. They packed it in. You know what their thought is? It's not on this football game. It's on where is our vacation destination after this miserable shit show of a season is over. That's what they're thinking right now. They want no part, I think, of this game or competing, or there's no will, there's no spirit, there's no fight in this football team right now. It's a shit offensive line. And if anything, the one guy I'm going to count on for great effort here is Bo Levi Mitchell, who's getting the start here for the Calgary Stampeders. It's going to be his final game with the Calgary Stampeders, probably his final start at McMahon Stadium as a member of this team. I think there's something there that he says, you know what? And he has been class act from the beginning with this whole situation that Jake Mayer is now going to be the quarterback moving forward. He's supported him. He's been there for him, mentored him. He hasn't bitched and complained and said, oh, my God, why are they doing this to me? I've won Grey Cups for this franchise. Now they're passing me over for this young kid. He hasn't done any of that. He's been a good teammate the whole while, and now he's going to have his opportunity, I think, to say, hey, my final ride as the Stampeders quarterback here. I think, he'll have a good game, believe it or not, because Saskatchewan, and it's as much as the offensive line and the offense has been in shambles, and what a terrible decision it was to do that to Cody Fajardo last week and put Mason Fine in as the quarterback instead. We need to talk, too, about how the defense for Saskatchewan hasn't been the same either in the second half of the year. They haven't been very good. I think Bo Mitchell and Calgary wins this game, covers this number. Saskatchewan couldn't show up with their season on the line last week at home against this Calgary team that had nothing to play for. Why should I expect anything different here?
Why do you think the market's moving towards the Green Riders?
I couldn't tell you. I honestly couldn't. I mean, to me, this is just Calgary's got Bo in there. Betting markets don't like Bo because he didn't play great earlier this year. And Calgary's not been a great home favorite. I will give you that. Their home favorite record long term hasn't been all that good. But man, if you've been watching Saskatchewan the last few weeks and just the bad play on the field, the lack of intensity, the lack of like I said, fight. I didn't see a team wanting to make the playoffs in the last several games of the season. And now you expect them to show up in a game now with their season officially already over now. If they're out of it. I can't imagine what the betting markets are seeing in Saskatchewan and how anyone could want a part of them right now.
Well, we can give you a 4.5 at Heritage.
Well, we'll take that then. Yep.
Strange. Okay, Bobano, because I can't figure out why this is happening is the only reason why I'm not going to move on this one. I just when I'm confused, I stay off. But Bobano Stampeders -4.5 and -110. That's available right now at Heritage. So in a business. Let's review final week of the regular season in CFL. Bobano is on the Lions first half +3 at -120. I'm moving on the under 48.5 in Alouettes Argonauts. Redblacks +2 at -116 for Bobano. I love the breakdown. I will be on the Redblacks money line. And then Stampeders -4.5 and -110 for Bobano. That, our friends, is CFL. We move on to NHL. I'm sorry I don't have the records up. They will be shortly. It's, been a fucking hell of a week. So, but everything will be up here, and know that will be all transparent and all that good stuff. And I'm down just a little over 3 units right now on the season, and I feel fine. I feel fine. I see everybody cashing overs like crazy, and we'll figure. I'll get everything straight. But the Sabres was a mistake last night. The Canucks helped, and then I pushed on the Habs team total.
I thought, look, Buffalo is a better team than Montreal, but that was absolutely a brutal spot for them. I mean, it was just, that's the NHL schedule makers have to do better than that. You can't put a team in a spot where they're in Seattle 2 nights ago and they have 1 day off, knowing they've got to go west to east, Pacific to Eastern time zone, and make them play less than 48 hours later at home. That's a brutal situation. You can't, I mean, I know some teams may have that same thing, but I don't know how you can put a team in that spot. It's terrible.
I just thought that the 5-1 loss that the Kraken delivered would be the slap in the face that would keep them, sharp. But you're absolutely right.
I think the mind, what's Rick? It's like what Rick Jeanneret said when he retired. The mind was willing, but the body was unable. I think that's what happened with Buffalo last night. The mind wanted to bounce. I think the effort was there, but sometimes you just don't have it physically. And a long road trip will do that to you, and playing less than 48 hours later.
So mistakes, which is fine. It's fine. We're sitting in a fine position here.
Buffalo's the only team, Bo Jackson, I would bitch about. We're going to bitch about that with, because I grew up a Sabre fan, so that's why.
Yeah, and
it was like if it happened to the Leafs, I'm like, screw them. They can handle it. Yeah.
We cashed the Islanders -1 at +143 on Wednesday, and that was a nice big score. So everything is fine.
That was a good spot. Yeah,
it was perfect. Yeah, everything's fine. So, but and Alec, I got you, my man. Sorry, I didn't realize you were also Better's Bet, and I guess that's your new show, Better's Bet. So, respect, man. But yeah, Alec, we'll connect after the show for sure. So let's get into NHL right now. We start 6 p.m. Eastern. Anaheim Ducks 1-5-1, 0-4-1 on the road at Vegas Golden Knights 6-2-0, 3-1-0 at home at T-Mobile Arena, Las Vegas, Nevada. John Gibson, Logan Thompson. If you had told me last year that when these two teams meet, Logan Thompson would be the much better goaltender, I would say that's crazy. Also, why does John Gibson feel like he's 10 years older than he is? He should not be falling apart here. 1-4-1, 4.26 goals against average, 893 save percentage. I thought that they were going to be fine not having Getzlaf out there, but clearly these are the times when you want a veteran leader, when you come out of the gate so badly off of that road trip, and then you come back home and have their 6th straight loss, but you're up against the defending Stanley Cup champions. This power play is at 9.1%, and that's the only place where you'd really actually want Getzlaf on the ice to win face-off, stand in front of the net, and they miss him. Penalty killing at 65.5%. This is a talented hockey team that's not playing well right now, and Vegas is playing very well with a lot to prove after the disappointing season last year. 18.5% power play, 75% penalty killing, coming in off their 2nd straight win, 4-2 at the Sharks on Tuesday. Let's go to the line history here in this one. We have the Vegas Golden Knights as huge favorites, opening up at -250, now at -280. A huge move at Pinnacle. This total, as there's been a 5-cent move towards the over. It was heavily juiced to the under 6.5. Now it's just juiced to the under 6.5 at -120. When we go over to the cash flow in this one, we have 3,959 tickets in. 12% of the tickets, 40% of the cash on the Ducks. So, and look, I see it too. Vegas should not be this big of a favorite. but I don't know if I want to move on the Ducks. 6 straight losses. You want to 46% tickets on the over, 57% cash on the over. Take it away for us, Bobano. We have Ducks Knights.
Yeah, it's disappointing for me with what we've seen from Anaheim. I mean, I expected them to be an improved club, and here they are at 1-6, and most of these losses have been ugly. Now, the Seattle game in their first game of the year, they came back and won, but they were down 4-2 in that game. So they're that close from being, another Vancouver Canucks, where they haven't won a game yet to this point, if not for that comeback against Seattle. But on the road, they got bashed 7-1 by the Islanders. They actually had a pretty solid effort against the Rangers, but fell 6-4, lost to Jersey 4-2. Tough, hard-fought game against Boston, lost in a shootout 2-1. Lost to Detroit 5-1, and then they came back home. Tough spot. This is another one where you got to scratch your head with the schedule makers. They've traveled after every game this year so far. They had the one home game against Seattle. Then they went on that 5-game road trip. Islanders, Rangers, Devils, Bruins, Red Wings. They come back home for one game against Tampa Bay. One game, and now they're back on the road again. I mean, that's tough. That really, really is tough. That being said, you're right. I'm tempted by Anaheim in this spot. There's no question. It's a huge number. There's still talent on this hockey team. But at the same time, Vegas is playing great. 3 of their last 4 they've won. I've been very impressed with their defensive game. I've been impressed that their offense has really picked it up as well this year, the Vegas Golden Knights. But like I said, defensively, they've been strong. They're giving up just 2 goals per game, 7th in shots on goal allowed per game. There's lots to like. Bruce Cassidy, which I said he kind of railroaded by Boston. It's great to see him land on his feet here with Vegas. He's got them off to this strong 6-2 start. I'll say this, though, about Anaheim. They have given Vegas some tough games. I mean, the last 4 meetings, Anaheim won 1, Vegas won 3, but 3-1, 5-4, 5-4. A couple of really close games here for Vegas last year when they played this Anaheim team. We'll see who ends up being in between the pipes here for these respective teams. I'm kind of hoping it's they give Gibson a little bit of a rest here because, it just hasn't been the rebound season I thought it might be for Gibson. I thought, maybe clear his head. He's got a better team now. We thought a better team, and he's still giving up 3+ goals every game. Stolarz, if he's in net, I might be tempted to give Anaheim a small shot here at the big plus price. As far as the total goes in this game, we know that the Vegas Golden Knights are playing some better defensive hockey. There's no question. But we have seen some higher scoring games here between these two teams. So I'm looking at considering Anaheim. I'm looking at considering the over. I'll probably go over if Gibson's in net. I'll probably take a small stab with Anaheim if Stolarz is in net. That's probably where I'm at right now, but we don't have confirmation, so can't make anything official just yet.
I can't do it either. Mason McTavish needs to get a goal, needs to get some confidence. Moving him off of the Zegras Troy Terry line, not a good sign for this team as they move forward. Silverberg just never took the next step that we all thought he was going to take. When the trade happened from Ottawa, we thought this guy had top 6 forward written all over him. So the idea that Henrique and Silverberg would be on the third line with Derek Grant and it wouldn't be a great third line is a surprise to me. And then this defense, bringing in Klingberg, you have Drysdale with another year under his belt. You have a power play that has Shattenkirk and Fowler on it. You would think that the special teams would be much improved. So, yep. I also really agree with what Birdie's saying here, that the +1.5 doesn't fit. With the 6.5 total, I agree completely. Even though this is juiced to the under, I agree completely. If you go for the huge score for the Ducks, or you don't do it at all. So, okay. Know something. We'll get with that. Know something. Are you on Twitter? That's another way where we can really help. There's Julian Cesario in the house. Dan Bonner says Ducks team total under 2.5. Says it's a play for him. Look, Logan Thompson's playing great, but let me warn you about this Ducks offense. They're getting over 40 shots a game. Their shooting percentage is going to not. I mean, they're gonna find their way closer to the mean at some point. The Ducks are going to score. This is an offensive group, an offensive defense. So don't expect the Ducks to not score as we move throughout the year. They're going to be a team that can put the puck in the net. So.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing for either of us. Let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. New York Islanders 3-4, 0-2 on the road at the Carolina Hurricanes, 4-1-1, 1-0 at home. We're at PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ilya Sorokin 2-3, 2.26 goals against average, 931 save percentage, one shutout. Freddie Anderson 3-1-0, 2.26 goals against average, 913 save percentage. The Islanders 12.5% power play, 100% penalty killing. Carolina 22.7% power play, 78.3% penalty killing. The more I keep talking about Noah Dobson, you got to watch him, you guys. He's so good. It makes the. I just wish they never did the Taves trade with the Avalanche, because if they could have Taves and Noah Dobson on that first line, and then Pollock and Pellick on the second line, and now we're talking. Now we're talking. Islanders coming off a 3-0 win at home over the Rangers on Wednesday night. They're just going to give us value at home all year long, especially against Western Conference teams. But there was a nice win against their rival, the Rangers. Hurricanes snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 3-2 win at Vancouver on Monday night to close up their 5-game Western road trip. So Babano talking about the difficulty that Buffalo was put in the situation. Here, they've given the Carolina Hurricanes, they went back to their hotel on Monday. They didn't need to fly out right away. They fly out on Tuesday. And now we're here on Friday, so they should be prepared for this spot. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with here from a market standpoint. These Carolina Hurricanes open up at minus 185. They're now minus 177. But they got up to minus 197. The buyback on the Islanders has happened in the last 40 minutes. So that's an important note to keep an eye on. There's market is moving right now to the Islanders briskly. And we see a 5.5. Remember those days? There's a 5.5 here. This opened up at 5.5. It moved to 6. It dropped to 5.5, moved to 6, kept going back and forth. And we are now at a 5.5 for a total. Let's take a look at the cash flow in this one. 3,013 tickets in. You have 65% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on Carolina. But we know that there's been sharp movement towards the Islanders in the last 45 minutes. And then 83% of tickets, 92% of cash on the under. Back last year, 2 years ago, this would have been a stone cold. We would have loved. They would never have given us a 6 for this matchup, but goals are being scored at a high rate in the NHL. Take it away for us, Bobano. Isles, Hurricanes.
Pass for me. I won't be involved probably in this game. It's a tough spot for Carolina because they're off the road trip. Back home, that's never an easy spot. Islanders took advantage of a big, an advantageous situation, beating the Rangers 3-0 in their last game. Got Kyle Palmieri 2 goals. That's what they need from him. I mean, sometimes he goes into these tailspins, but definitely that was good to see him get the offense going. They had lost 3 in a row before that. It was a big win for the Islanders, no question about that. Carolina's owned this team, though. That's the one concern you have. I mean, really own this team. I mean, they've won 9 of the last 10 meetings over the Islanders. I do think they're certainly still the better team. They didn't exactly have the best road trip. They ended up 3-2 winning road trip, but lost to Calgary, lost to Edmonton in the middle there. Still a winning road trip, I guess, is pretty good, but you look at Carolina, the one thing that does concern me, too, about laying this price is the wins were Columbus, San Jose, Seattle, and a previously winless Vancouver team. This team hasn't beaten a lot of the better teams in the league. So it's a spot that I don't love for Carolina, but at the same time, I don't think much of this Islanders team. I think they actually got the Rangers in a brutal spot more than, wow, the Islanders are really back on track here. So easy pass for me.
I agree. Excuse me. I agree with the look that, the Islanders aren't the team that made it to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final against the Lightning. This isn't them. And I'm not entirely sure why the fall off happened. I can't really pinpoint it. Obviously, they started off awful last year with the COVID situation, but
I don't think Freddie Anderson's been nearly as good this year so far. Now, it's early, small sample size, but he hasn't been nearly as good. I think that's part of it.
Yeah, for sure. I was more talking about the Islanders not being the team that I remember. But, yeah, there is a 6 at Bet365 at minus 130. I hope I don't. I'm trying so hard not to take any totals at minus 125 or higher at all. All right, so And Dan Bonner says duck shots on goal are extremely skewed, in my opinion, because they are always losing. So, of course, you'll be getting shots. The opposing team has switched styles. Easy to get shots down 2 every night. Dan Bonner. It was coffee. It was coffee. There's Moose money in the house. Moose, we're going to be talking MLB here in a little bit. Not too long from now. But there is the Islanders Hurricane spot. I guess I wouldn't be against the Islanders first period thing. The Hurricanes don't start fast ever. I guess I would have some interest there. And Brady said this is their defense. They are not good. I guess I have some interest in the Islanders first period. I'm just going to write it down now because I've not made any bets pre-show, and I do want to have some hockey action. Let's move on to the next spot, 7 p.m. Eastern. Another part of why this show is so special is we broke down the Bruins-Red Wings game, and then for 45 minutes, hour in the show, the chat told us Brad Marchand is in. We talked about it off the top of the show that he could be in. Was he going to be in? He's going to get back from injury earlier than expected. And then when he was in, it should have been a smash spot for the Bruins. The Wings were coming off an awful loss, and we thought, but I just stayed off of it. But it's important. The chat is so crucial. We have all these cappers working together, and you saw it work there. Nationwide Arena in Columbus, Ohio. It was a strange game last night, and I've not looked it up what happened to Krejci. I just watched him skate off the ice. They get Brad Marchand back, and they lose Krejci. Do you know the extent of the Krejci injury, Bobano?
Well, he's not playing tonight. That's the first thing, and he will not. So it's upper body. It's day to day. That's all they're saying. It's day to day right now. But they said clearly we're going to be cautious with this and keep him out tonight. So. Stay tuned, but day to day for now.
A big loss for the Boston Bruins. 25% power play, 93.3% penalty killing, 7-1 on the season, undefeated, 6-0 at home. I did not expect them to jump out like this. Linus Ullmark is a big reason why. 5-0, 2.01 goals against average, save percentage over 930. I mean, he's rolling right now. Merzlikins is off to another tough start, and it's tough. He's had a really rough couple years. And it started by, watching his best buddy die in a fucking freak accident in a hot tub with a firework. I mean, he just hasn't seemed to get right ever, and he's full of skill. Columbus, 0% power play, 81.5% penalty killing. Haven't scored a power play goal, but they're still involved in high-scoring games, which is very confusing for me. So the Bruins are on the second half of a back-to-back. They've won their 5th straight, 5-1 at home over Detroit last night. Jackets lost their second in 3 games, a very ugly 6-3 loss at home versus Arizona on Tuesday night. Robert Franklin says Bruins in regulation. I don't want anything to do with the Bruins after winning the way they did last night and not having Krejci in the lineup here. Brady says, I have a heavy lean to the under here with Boston on the back-to-back. I need something to put me over the top or take me off. I just don't see goals here. Let's take a look at the line history and see what we are dealing with and where the cash lies in this one. We have a move, though, towards the Columbus Blue Jackets, a big one. The Bruins open up minus 158. They're now minus 140. They got down to minus 136. From a totals perspective, opened up at 6.5 juice to the over. It's now 6.5 juice to the under. A big move towards the under. I mean, we're talking 15 cents at Pinnacle towards the under, but still at the 6.5 number. So let's see where the cash lies. 3,719 tickets in. You have 37% of the tickets and 54% of the cash on Columbus. And then you have 47% of the tickets and 91% of the cash on the over, but a move towards the under. So that's confusing. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Bruins, Jackets.
Yeah, this is I can't bet Columbus under the total. I can't. This team is not playing great defense. Merzlikins is struggling right now. They've gone over the total in 6 of their last 7 games. Boston's lighting it up offensively, forced 3 and 5 in their last 3 games. But there is going to be no Brad Marchand tonight because they're taking it easy with him coming back from the injury a month ahead of schedule, and they're not playing him back-to-back. So I guess you could say load management is creeping its way into the NHL now, not just the NBA. But yeah, Brad Marchand will not play tonight, and David Krejci's obviously out. Jackets are having a bad way right now. There's no doubt. But and the goalie for Boston's undefeated. But I'm going to actually take and make it official with Columbus here at the plus price as an official play. I don't like this setup at all for Boston. All right. They had the big return of Marchand. They've absolutely fired up for it. He obviously makes a huge impact. They win decisively against Detroit. Now they're on a back-to-back the very next night against a Columbus team that they just saw lose to Arizona. And if anything, that Arizona loss, as bad as it was, is going to wake up Columbus. That's my hope tonight. Remember, this is not a team that is devoid of talent. You've got Jake Voracek. You brought in Johnny Gaudreau. Patrick Laine is back. He should feel more comfortable now in his second game back here. Zach Werenski on the blue line. Boone Jenner. Watch out for Kent Johnson. He is now a regular on this team. In fact, I like his goal prop tonight once again. I mean, I've been riding the Kent Johnson train with his goal props. Scored in 3 straight games. I think that's worth a look here in this game tonight. This is just one of those spots you play against Boston, and win or lose, you're happy with your thought process. And let's not forget, Boston's only had 1 back-to-back this year. They won at home against Florida. They went on the road for a back-to-back the next night against Ottawa, and they couldn't have come out worse in that game. They fell behind 3-0 in the first period. They got buried by the Ottawa in the first period of that game, and they ended up losing by a score of 7-5. This is just not a spot for Boston. It isn't. And Boston's not going to go 81-1. Boston's going to lose some games here. Boston is playing well. They've done an incredible job playing well without the cogs in the lineup that they've been without. No McAvoy yet this year. They missed Grzelcyk for some games. They missed Brandon Carlo for some games. They only got Brad Marchand back yesterday. I get all of that, but you're going to get Columbus's best, and I'm not convinced you're going to get Boston's best here. In fact, flat spots is what I feel is on the horizon here for the Bruins in this game.
I agree completely. I'm still hesitant, but you're right. This just is a.
I was on Ottawa that last time Boston was on a back-to-back. Big home win. This is even sweeter, I think, because they just beat the hell out of Detroit. Marchand came back. Everybody's fired up. The building's buzzing. He has that big return. And this is the spot for Boston to take a nosedive.
So I wonder what they're going to do. You're taking 2 of their top 6 forwards out of the lineup. So who are you going to put on that first line? And it's probably Zacha. I imagine that you'll want to keep
Zacha. Zacha's going to go back
Zacha,
up.
yeah, because you want to keep
that. Because Zacha's familiar with playing on that top line with Bergeron and DeBrusk already.
Yeah.
So there's instant chemistry there already. So I would think that it's going to be a situation where he ends up moving up to the top line, which means he's probably going to be worth it from a prop standpoint. I could see this being a lot like the Ottawa game. I really want to add the over in this game too. I don't know if I will, but I really want to add that as well, because I think this could be like that sloppy Boston. Boston was really, really porous defensively the second night of back-to-backs when they played Ottawa. The only other time they were on a back-to-back. That game ended, 7-5? And we know Columbus is playing one track meet, one shootout, one high-scoring game after another. So I really badly want to take this. So I'm going to make it official. Put it on there, over 6.5.
Let's get you the over. We'll get you the over 6.5, and then Charlie Coyle move up with Pasternak and Taylor Hall, which will help defensively, but certainly not offensively. Trinelius Coleman says, "What Bruins smash spot?" Maybe you're right.
Maybe they're that good. And if they're that good, I tip the cap. I say salute. Yeah. Great job. You won here tonight. Columbus is really that bad. But I saw this with the Ottawa game and Boston on the back-to-back after a big win. And like I say, the circumstances around the win last night are even greater than the Florida win, because you had Brad Marchand coming back. He has this huge game. They're just everybody after the game saying, wow, just gushing over having him back. The crowd was just, in a frenzy when he got that first goal. Doesn't it feel like flat spot tonight against coming in, and you're going to roll into town and you see this Columbus team? Oh, they just lost to the Coyotes, and human mentality takes over, and you're just not ready to play tonight. Don't be shocked if that's Boston tonight.
And it's also, there's a couple different things that we need to be conscious of all the time. First off, you have the sharp money on Columbus. Whether you want to care about that or not, it's fine. But you have to in sports gambling, you have to buy low and sell high.
And 2 days off for Columbus too, and with no travel, because that was a home game. This is another home game. Big rest advantage, huge.
The continuity of home games with breaks in between is huge, but you have to buy low and sell high. You do not want a team coming in off of a first game of back-to-back, winning 5-1 at home, where they're undefeated with their star player coming back, and they lose the difference maker in their season, who was not there last year, Krejci, to an injury. It is a perfect sell high scenario. You never want to buy high, and that's what you'd be doing on the Bruins, and that should be transferred to all sports. And you still could be right, Cornelius. We're certainly not saying you're wrong, and then we don't mean to be saying that, but these are very, very important notes that we must use in our capping. Let's get you that over 6.5 here. I want so bad to back the Blue Jackets.
North Ender, I like his look. I'm not making that one official, but I'll have a few bucks on it. First period, both teams to score at a nice plus price. Yeah, I agree with that. Boston, Ottawa. I keep going back to that one back-to-back the Bruins had this year. Boston and Ottawa. Do you know what the score was?
7-5.
It was like 3-2, I think, after the first
one,
period.
Yeah. Why do you think Boone Jenner was bumped off that top line with Johnny Hockey line? I mean, I know that they weren't scoring, but I just thought that was a perfect centerman for them. Now they have Roslovic up there, and they moved Boone Jenner to the third line. I mean,
so I'm not going to fault Brad Larson for shaking up the lines big time after that Arizona debacle, because for them to struggle to threaten to score goals against that team for a long period of time, maybe a shakeup's in order. Now you could question what exactly he did to shake things up. At Roslovic in the center spot, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes with Gaudreau and Laine, Nyquist, Jenner, and Johnson on the second line. You know who needs to get going too? Cole Sillinger. They have high hopes for this guy. He's got 1 assist this year. I know he's only 19 years old, 12th overall pick, though. I thought he made a big impact last year. He had 31 points for the Jackets last season. I don't think he's played to that level this year so far. So they need more out of that third line center spot.
And they've moved him to second line center now by putting Boone down to the third line. So, and Brady, that's exactly what I'm saying. This is I'm talking about Trinelius loving the Bruins, saying that it's a sell high spot. This is certainly a buy low spot on the Jackets after that 6-3 loss. So let's be on the same page. It's exactly what I'm saying. All right. There you have it. Sean, what's up, my man? So let's give you that over 6.5 here. And I should move on Columbus. I just don't know if I have the balls to do it. You're getting a plus 101 over at Pinnacle. Over 6.5 for Bobano. Over 6.5 at plus 101. And I would love to bet the Blue Jackets here. I just don't trust them. I just don't trust them.
Yep.
I can't.
They're not playing good. Yep.
But God, I wish I could.
That being said, they did beat them. They were good enough to beat the New York Rangers last weekend. We do have to remember that.
Yeah, no doubt. And they're at home off rest. But I mean, when I look at this lineup, I'm like, I just don't know if I can put my money on them. And I think I just stay off.
Think about it a little longer. The game's not till tonight, so.
All right, let's keep moving. And maybe the public does come in a little bit on the Bruins. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, Colorado Avalanche, 4-2-1, 3-1-0 on the road at the New Jersey Devils, 4-3-0, 2-2-0 at home at Prudential Center in, Newark, New Jersey. Alexander Georgiev, 401, 2.57 goals against average, 921 save percentage. I've always known that he was sort of fragile. Obviously, Shesty took all the glory in New York, and it's important for a goaltender to know that he's going to be in the lineup every second night. And, he's showing it. And I know he has got the skills to be a number one goaltender. I just don't know if he has it mentally, but he's looking good so far this year. Mackenzie Blackwood, 3-2-0, 2.81 goals against average, 871 save percentage. Colorado power play at 50%, penalty killing at 66.7%. Those are fun numbers. New Jersey Devils power play at 15, penalty killing at 90.5. Avs opened up their road trip with a 3-1 win at Vegas last Saturday night, and then a 3-2 shootout win over the Rangers on Tuesday night. They're getting a nice – they're not being forced to play too many games here, and this might be an okay spot for them. Devils won their 4th in 5 games after a 6-2 loss here at Detroit. So let's pull up the line history here in this Avs Devils game. Sorry, give me a second. Here we go. The Avs open up at minus 157. They're now minus 135. From a totals perspective, it opened up heavily juiced to the over, minus 134 to the over. It's come back quite a bit. You know, a 7 did kind of hit the board. It wasn't a real 7, but 7 did sort of hit the board for Pinnacle. I think this would be something I would do in Vegas probably. I just don't know if I can do it tonight. But if you had the Blue Jackets and the Devils, both of them on the money line, I think you'd be in good shape to have a positive ROI in that spot. Let's just see. I imagine the sharp money's all over the Devils. I think that the Avalanche are going to be a nice fade at times. And look at this. You have 67% of tickets and 96% of cash on the Colorado Avalanche. And the market's moving clearly towards the Devils. 22% of tickets, 39% cash on the under. Unders are very tricky when the Avalanche are involved. Take it away here, Bobano. We have Avs, Devils. And Francouz is confirmed. Thank you, guys. Francouz is confirmed.
Yeah, Francouz is going to be in net for. That's unfortunate because if I'm New Jersey, I would have rather had Georgiev in tonight because I think if you had started Georgiev again tonight, this would be the ultimate letdown spot, and just him coming back down to earth after he had the game of his life on Wednesday, beating the New York Rangers, beating his old team. I would have really liked to see him in there if I was on New Jersey tonight. Look, I understand they're playing a little bit better. The Devils 4 of their last 5, they've won. But at the end of the day, I mean, we're talking about. I feel like I need to be getting a bigger price than this to take New Jersey. I mean, it's down to plus 110 in some spots, and there's a huge gap between these two teams. I can't say that I love the spot for New Jersey. I mean, they're off the back-to-back wins against Vegas and the Rangers, and we got Francouz confirmed to be the netminder tonight for the Avalanche. And when you consider the fact that Francouz is a guy that has been inconsistent, has battled injuries, and I certainly don't like his start to the year. 4.1 goals against average, 877 save percentage. Again, only 2 starts, but neither one he was that sharp in. The Calgary game and the Seattle game, he gave up some goals, and Colorado lost both games. So he's got some proving to do. I actually think the Devils are a better goaltender long-term moving forward with Vitek Vanacek in net. Obviously, Blackwood can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. I shouldn't be that mean about it, but I'm sick of that guy being built up to be this next best goaltender in the Devils organization since Marty Brodeur, which one scribe for the Devils said 2 years ago when he first came up that Mackenzie Blackwood, if things fall into place, he could be the second coming of Marty Brodeur, the best goalie they've had the Devils since Marty Brodeur. Marty Brodeur, my ass. He'll never be that in that discussion. That's an insult to Marty Brodeur that we would even put Blackwood in that category. So the fact that he's injured, good riddance. I think Vitek Vanacek should get the starts moving forward. And he played very well against Detroit. Only faced 22 shots, but 6-2 win. I think long-term he's going to be a good goalie for this team, but this is a tough ask. I mean, Colorado is, potent, lethal offensively, and the Devils still have some defensive issues, at times in front of their goaltenders, although I think Vanacek will do a better job of cleaning that up. Last 2 meetings have both gone over the total. In fact, actually, you go back the last 3 head-to-head meetings in New Jersey with the Devils and the Avs have all gone over the total. 5-3, 5-2, 5-3. That's going to be my play in this game, over 6.5.
Over 6.5. I will find you the best price for that one. For Bobano.
I'll find it. Hold on one sec. All right, now we will do that. Here we go.
And big shout out to Jonathan Yim and Spenny Penny Bombs. Thank you for becoming members of Pub Sports Radio. It means a ton to us. Thank you.
Minus 120. Minus 125 dimes. There we go.
Over 6.5 at minus 120 is locked in. All right, we roll on to 10 p.m. Eastern. Pittsburgh Penguins 4-2-1, 1-2-1 on the road. The Vancouver Canucks 1-5-2, 0-2-0 at home. Rogers Arena, Vancouver, BC. Tristan Jarry expected at this point. I don't know if you guys have a difference in spreadsheet play of the day is on Colorado. Thank you for sharing that with us, Ron. Spreadsheet play of the day is on the Colorado Avalanche. Let me pop that in right under Bobano's action. And there you go. There we go. Tristan Jarry going up against Spencer Martin. Spencer Martin did not have a good first game, but we're basing everything on what we saw from him last year when he was good, when he was called up. Pittsburgh power play at 24.1%, penalty killing at 72%. Vancouver power play at 22.2%, penalty killing at 60%. It's too bad this defense is so weak because getting Mikheyev and Kuzmenko on the second line makes such a powerful top six. I mean, if JT Miller can get rolling on that first line, then oh goodness. But the defense is so atrocious that we're in big trouble. Pittsburgh comes in off their second straight loss, 4-1 at Calgary on Tuesday. So you have a rested Penguins team that's angry going up against a Canucks team on the second half of a back-to-back after defeating the Kraken 5-4 in Seattle last night. That's the situation that we have here. Let's take a look at the line history. You have the Canucks open up at plus 145. They're now plus 151. I'm a little surprised there's not a bigger move towards the Penguins. They open up at minus 165, now minus 168. Christopher Comentini, thank you so much, man. Thank you. Rod Zwacky says, let's take that over 6.5. Pens Canucks 10-star play of the day from our Rod Zwacky. We'll take a look at the total here that Rod is on with the over. There has been a 13-cent move to the under. 13-cent move to the under at Pinnacle. And Parlangel. Thank you, my man. That means a ton. Spenny says it's a win for Vancouver, something they can finally build on. You know, when the Kraken scored again after the empty netter, it was like, this is too much.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be easy, can it? Yeah.
And to see the look on Brucey's face, it was like they won a playoff series.
Yeah.
And so I don't know what to say. Fanatical Jim's on the Canucks team total over 2.5. Ron Crawford's in Pittsburgh in regulation. Rocco says, yes, Ron. Let's take a look at the cash flow because you would think that the market would be moving heavy to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Why is it not? Now, we only have 5,926 tickets in. 87% of tickets and 98% of the cash is on the Pittsburgh Penguins. So why? Why is this not at minus 185 or minus 190? 70% of the tickets and 90% of cash on the under. The market is a little confusing here. Bobano, can you figure out a way to get paid here, Penguins Canucks?
So I'm not going to move on anything yet. I worry Pittsburgh shows up big tonight. They're not happy. Mike Sullivan says we're playing for periods. We're not playing for full games right now. And that's got to change. And if they're a rest advantage here, they've been off for 2 days. They don't want to go 0-3 in this Western Canadian trip. And obviously this is the most winnable game. With all due respect to Vancouver, Calgary and Edmonton are tougher opponents. So this is going to be the best chance right now for Pittsburgh to get a win. I expect a good effort from Pittsburgh. That being said, you know what I do with teams when they're winless and they finally get that first win? I always leave the door open that they get hot, they get on a run, and they start to turn things around. I just wish they hadn't had a back-to-back here. Like, if you get this game Saturday instead of tonight, I'm much more interested in maybe taking Vancouver. Now I'm not, and we're going to see Spencer Martin. Not that Spencer Martin isn't capable in net, but they did lose his one start against Columbus earlier this year. But when you look at it, you're right. They lost it. They won that game. They won it like a playoff. They felt like a playoff type of win. Just that sigh of relief, monkey off their back, getting that win. And with only 24 hours to get ready for this one, I worry that it's going to be tough for Vancouver against a very angry and probably still a little bit better than them Pittsburgh team coming in here for this game. And I love the quote from Bruce after the game, because that win last night was his 600th career win as an NHL head coach. They asked Bruce, 600th career win, is that about how you diagrammed it up? He says, well, I had it diagrammed up probably about 8 games ago. Talking about the struggles. What a quote. I love that guy. He's phenomenal. I mean, the fact that he can, make a little chuckle here and there through bad times. And the thing is, he never ranted and raved. He never threw his players under the bus. He never said, you know what, they suck. They're making my life miserable. He kept a positive mindset and attitude, and he said, keep playing. Things are going to turn. And sure enough, they finally got that win. This nonsense here that the media has drummed up that we need to question the coaching in this hockey team is a bunch of garbage. All right. The fact that we're already saying Bruce has got to go. You realize, you idiots, that they're paying Travis Green a shit ton of money after they got rid of him? And do you think now they're going to fire Bruce Boudreau this quickly? Get your heads out of your asses. Screw in and realize what's going on in terms of your situation with the team and how they've paid their coaches. That's not happening. So, but that's another story. This one, Here's the way I'm going to go about it. I'm probably going to pass on this game. I lean over a little bit, but I'm probably going to pass on that too because I think Pittsburgh wants to play better in their own zone. They talked about tightening things up. They're not thrilled with their defensive play the last 2 games. Here's what I'm going to do, though. If Vancouver somehow loses, even if they lose tonight, I'm probably going to come back on Vancouver the next game. And even if Vancouver sneaks it out and pulls out a win here, a back-to-back against Pittsburgh, then it's going to be that green light. It's going to be that buy sign on Vancouver that maybe we just ride this team for a few games after this if they get the job done. But I do want to take Vancouver again. I do believe in the theory of team struggles, teams on a bad losing streak. They get that first win, and then suddenly they go on a run. That could happen. I just think the spot is too dubious, too tough for me to pull the trigger on Van City once again tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's surprising. I guess.
And I don't like the fact that JT Miller's hobbling off the ice at the end of that. What a warrior, by the way, that guy. He fights, he drops the gloves. Same with Tanner Pearson. And Bruce said it after the game. You know why he won a Stanley Cup, Tanner Pearson, when you see what he did last night. Get the team going. Like, we're not losing this fucking hockey game. If I need to fight and drop the gloves with Adam Larson, God damn it, I'm going to do it. Miller, same thing. He had a fight in the first period. And then Miller with the 1-goal lead late in the final seconds. Fearless, blocking a shot, took it in a bad spot, worried about a broken ankle or a fractured ankle or fractured foot or bone bruise or fractured bone in the foot, whatever. That's what you worry about. They had to help him off the ice. Heart and soul, obviously, of the Canucks, and probably not going to play tonight, and you're worried that for JT Miller, it's long-term.
Yeah, that's extremely important. But Mark Schlingberg, liking Vanity, says Jake's still out. Zucker hurt again. Vancouver gets first win. They'll be feeling good
That's
about
true. Zucker and Gensel probably not playing tonight for the Pens.
Yeah, this is a tricky NHL card. We have one more NHL game, then we go into college football, then we go into MLB, and then we break down the entire NBA card. So that's our situation here. And thank you, DC, for asking about the Breeders' Cup. We are 1 week from our Breeders' Cup show on Friday. Breeders' Cup live stream, but we will not have Betting with the Bag next Friday. It'll be all horses and all glory. And then, of course, Saturday, Championship Saturday. We have a full horse racing next week. So get your bankroll right because there is money to make. All right, so let's keep rolling. We move on to the final game in NHL, Winnipeg Jets at Arizona Coyotes, and we finally get a chance to see Mullet Arena. Oh, God. David Riddick versus
we finally get to see the dump. Yeah.
Carol Vejmelka. That's the goaltending matchup you wanted for opening night at Mullet. David Riddick versus Carol Vejmelka. Winnipeg power play at 16.7%, penalty killing 73.7%. Arizona power play at 29.6%, impressive. Penalty killing at 79.2%. The Jets are on the second half of a back-to-back after winning their second straight game, 6-4 at the Kings last night. Impressive. I know a lot of you guys were on the Jets, spending Pennybomb, one of them. Impressive. Coyotes snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 6-3 win at Columbus on it wasn't last night, right? That would have been 2 nights ago. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with here. From a line history standpoint, we have the Yotes opening up at plus 137. They're now plus 129. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 6.5 plus 105 to the under. It stayed right there. There was a move to the over, but it's come back. From a cash flow perspective, you have 59% of tickets and 83% of the cash on Arizona, 67% of tickets and 94% cash on the over. God, it's funny. You have two teams that I despise in very favorable situations in the Jackets and the Coyotes. Is it enough to make you move on the Coyotes, Bobano?
So I'm going to play this one a little differently. I usually off the road trip, right, you want to fade a team, but they've had a few days off. They've had a couple days off, right? They've had some time to get reacclimated to being back in the desert. There's going to be issues I think these players have with this arena. There's already complaints about the dressing room and all this shit. But I think for the very first game with that little, bandbox of 5,000 people. And look, say what you will about how it's ridiculous. They're playing in an NHL facility with 5,000 people. The 5,000 people that will be there tonight, at least from the Coyotes fans, those are the hardcores. If there's whatever passionate fans they do have in that market, they're going to be the ones in that building tonight cheering on the Coyotes. So that should give them a little bit of a boost. Winnipeg, certainly it's not a great Winnipeg spot. They're off the big comeback win against the LA Kings last night. Not a good night for Jonathan Quick. I thought that was a pretty bad night for him last night. And Hellebuck just was phenomenal. I mean, the Kings deserved a better fate in that game. They outplayed the Jets, but stood on his head, was terrific in net, allowed the Jets to come back. Now you're on a back-to-back after an exhausting comeback. I don't expect the Jets to play their A game tonight, and they're probably going to go with David Riddick, Big Civ Dave, who got lit up in his first start and the only start he had previously this year. I have no problem at all going against this guy. Already has a 4.21 goals against, 871 save percentage, gave up 4 goals and a 5-2 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights in that game. I'm going to go with Arizona here, but at a team total instead. I'm going to go Arizona Coyotes team total over 3, -110 at BetMGM. And what I love about BetMGM is you can bet half totals. You know, you don't just settle for 2.5, 3.5, 4.5. They give you 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4. You can bet in half goal increments. And I like that. I like the security of the 3, just in case, you know, it's 3-2 or 3-1 or something. But I think they're going to fill the back of the net here. They just put 6 on the board against Columbus. That should give them some offensive confidence. And like I said, Big Civ Dave, Dave Riddick in net, he usually gives up at least 3 goals in the majority of his recent starts. So I like Arizona team total over 3 here in this one. That's the best way, I think, to go about it. I feel safer with that than the money line for Arizona.
I like it, and I'm going to take the Oats first period. I think that they're going to be amped
Yeah,
up
I wouldn't argue with that.
time. And then you have Riddick, who we all agree is a sieve. Great to see Alex Smith in the chat. Great to see you. Great capper.
Yeah,
Alex
my
Smith.
Ice Guys co-host and colleague. There he is.
Great guy, great capper.
Yeah.
First period over and both teams to score there. That is our NHL breakdown. Let's review action here. Ducks Knights, no action for us. I'm on the Islanders first period against Carolina. Bobano's on the over 6.5 in Boston Columbus, and I just wish that I could bet. And now this is one of the things that I used to talk about with Loshak when he wasn't watching these games. He was studying them, but he wasn't watching them. And I was like, oh man, you're so lucky. You don't have this bias. And I have this bias. I despise the Blue Jackets and the moves that they made, and I hated seeing good Johnny Hockey go there. And now I just hate this hockey team, and I know it's the spot to back them, and maybe I can get around it and over it. Bobano's on the over 6.5 in Colorado, New Jersey. Ron Crawford, his spreadsheet play today is on Colorado. We've stayed off Pittsburgh, Vancouver. Bobano's on the team total over 3 for the Yotes. That was at -110.
That's right.
And
I'm on Columbus as well, money line. Yep.
Oh, and sorry, did I?
You didn't mention that. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was my bad. I only have. Thank you for mentioning that. Sorry, again, as you guys know, from my night last night, there was no sleep. The Jackets money line here. Let's lock that in for you. The best line we can give you for the Jackets money line is
+135. I see 5 times. There we go.
All right, there you go. Plus 135. All right. Okay, we are locked in. We move on to college football. Is gambling capping such a fickle whore. We broke down these 3 college games yesterday, I thought, as well as we've ever done it. And I cashed Virginia Tech plus 13.5 so easily. I cashed Southern Miss money line so easily. And then I moved on Washington State first half. And when they were up 7-0 and Cam Rising wasn't out on the field, I was like, oh, I'm sweeping the board. And I didn't. But if I had to be on the full game, I would have. But it's okay. It's okay because everything we're doing is working, and I'm okay with it. So we're sitting 24-11 on the season right now, and it feels good. Feels very good. Let's get ready to work here. And Summers R4 here, UK, Tennessee over 62.5. Let's get that up here. Kentucky, Tennessee over 62.5. That is a David Summers and move this and Matty Ice combo right there. All right, Bobano, let's get to work. 8 p.m. East. And by the way, the sharp money yesterday. You saying that they're dogs, but all those teams that covered had over 85% of the cash on them and lower than 50% of the tickets on them. We'll see if we can find that opportunity here. 8 p.m. Eastern, East Carolina at BYU. We're in Provo, Utah for this. 48 Fahrenheit, sunny, 3 miles per hour is the wind. It's a beautiful night there. Let's go over to the line history first and foremost and see what we are dealing with. Here we go. Pull this up. Sorry, taking a second. Move over here and pull up the cash flow as well. God, I don't have to. Okay, here we go. BYU opening up as 3-point favorites. They are now 3.5-point favorites. This has gone from 3 to 3.5 to 3 to 3.5. So we're watching it bounce back and forth. It's at 3.5 right now. That 3.5 was juiced to minus 112 at 8:40 this morning. Now that on the BYU side, now that plus 3.5 for East Carolina is the side that is juiced, and it's juiced pretty significantly. So I'm sure there's threes out there. From a cash flow standpoint, we have 16,569 tickets in. 55% of the tickets, 68% of the cash is on East Carolina. Then we have 67% of tickets on the under, and we don't have a cash flow number on the total there. And Ethan Payson's going to be at that game in person. And we have a NCAA football spreadsheet play today from Ron Crawford on Oklahoma money line. I'm going to copy and paste that. Wine time liking ECU. Let's set a table for Bobano, who is the star of our Hit in the Books show every Monday, as well as our NCAA football pub hub on Saturday mornings. East Carolina comes in off their second straight win, 34-13 at home versus UCF last week. It was extremely impressive because we've seen what UCF has been doing to opponents, is smashing them. Holton Ahlers was on point, 30 of 36, 311 yards and a touchdown. You had Keaton Mitchell running the ball very well. And this team just plays clean football. They're a team that you like to bet on. They stop the run. They're 24th in the country against the run. They barely commit turnovers, only 7 turnovers all year. They have 22 sacks, so they can make big plays. That's tied for 19th in the country. BYU comes off their third straight loss, an ugly 41-14 loss at Liberty as 7-point favorites. 12 first downs for BYU. Remember, why we've been succeeding in college football is not because we've been buying high, and that's what it would be if you buy East Carolina here. But look, I get it. I get after what you saw from BYU, I get it. This Cougars head coach took over the defensive play calling against Liberty, and Liberty put 547 yards on them, 300 on the ground. I mean, that's just absolutely wild. Matty Ice says under. Joe Rich says BYU at home or pass. Northander says ECU or pass. Christopher Comentini is on BYU. Because of the way you guys have been watching me cap NFL, and it's been extremely successful, it's BYU or nothing for me. And I'm fine with nothing. But let's see what Babano has to say. East Carolina or BYU?
Yeah. I'm not laying anything with BYU. That's despicable the way they played against Liberty. Absolutely despicable. That defensive effort against a guy that's not even the starting quarterback of Liberty, not even the number one quarterback. That was freaking Jonathan Bennett lighting this team up. That was 213 rushing yards to Day Hunter for a team that hasn't, always consistently ran the football that well this year either. So there's no way I'm laying points with this group. I mean, we just saw them get shredded by Arkansas. They lose to Notre Dame. I mean, their wins were – think about the victories now that BYU's had since the win against Baylor. They beat Wyoming and didn't cover at home, and Wyoming's one of the weaker teams in the Mountain West. They beat Utah State by 12 as 25.5-point favorites, didn't cover there, 0-6 ATS, and they had a backup quarterback. Cooper Legas was the quarterback that day for the BYU not BYU, Utah State. He was the quarterback that day. I can't lay points with BYU. Am I rushing to take ECU in a tough travel spot with a defense that's getting worse, not better each week? No. But it would be ECU or nothing for me in this game, and to over or nothing. How can you bet an under with BYU right now? They're giving up 52. They're giving up 41. And the one thing about East Carolina is they've got an offense, and we've seen it the last 2 weeks, 34 points against Central Florida, 47 against Memphis. They put up 48 in the game earlier this year against South Florida. They got shut down a little bit by Tulane, but Tulane's got a defense that doesn't, BYU doesn't hold a candle defensively right now. I think what's shocking about BYU is this is a team that prides itself on being great in the trenches, year in and year out. Offensive line stout, defensive line stout. Well, the defensive line's not getting a pass rush. The defensive line is actually getting pushed around. Teams are running the ball. The quarterback isn't getting any pressure on him from this defense. And the offensive line has had trouble consistently running the football for BYU. Much of their offense has been Jaron Hall throwing the ball. I mean, they have not been able to run the football with a whole hell of a lot of success so far this year. The good news, though, for BYU is they can throw the ball. Jaron Hall is a pretty good quarterback. He's got some decent receivers, and that's by far the weaker point of East Carolina's defense. It's the secondary. It's the pass defense. So I would have made the over an official play if it didn't move, but it did move a little bit here, 61.5 up to 63.5. So East Carolina and over are the leans by far for me, but I'm going to pump the brakes on making them official.
And it's moved even more than that at, that's Bookmaker. A Bookmaker up here, 59.5 to 64.5 at Bookmaker. Yep. At Pinnacle, 60.5 to 64. Yep. So a lot of movement there as well. And yeah, it's too many. It's moved to too many points now. I
understand the buy low concept, but for me, I have to look past the buy low concept on BYU here when you clearly see signs of a team that's falling apart. And to me, this is BYU looking like they're falling apart. You're not supposed to lose to Liberty 40-14 with not even their number one quarterback in the game. That's brutal. That's terrible. That's a disgrace, honestly.
I feel you. And at this point, with just under 17,000 tickets, 55% of the tickets and 68% of the cash is on East Carolina. So again, if I can't get everything to correlate, then I just stay off. Yep. And everything we kind of dug to make things correlate yesterday, but it worked. And it doesn't work here. Let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern. We have MLB next. World Series Game 1 next. 8 p.m. Eastern. Louisiana Tech 2-5, 1-2 in the Conference USA. At Florida International 3-4, 1-2 in Conference. We're at Ricardo Silva Stadium in Miami, Florida. 79 Fahrenheit, clear, 11 miles per hour. We begin with the line history and the cash flow. This opened up with FIU as 9-point dogs, and they're all the way down to 6-point dogs. And there's injury reasons for that we will go over. From the total standpoint, it opened up at 59, and it's just dropped to 57. So we expect to look at the cash flow and see it all over FIU and all over the under. Let's see if that's what we get. 7,780 tickets in, 61% of the tickets, 71% of the cash on Florida International, 44% of tickets and 71% of cash on the under. La Tech comes in off their second straight loss, 42-41 at home in overtime versus Rice, is 2.5-point dogs. And to make the heartbreaking loss hurt more, they lost their redshirt junior quarterback Matthew Downing to a season-ending knee injury. They're already down their senior quarterback Parker McNeil. So freshman Landry Liddy took over in overtime and got the touchdown and didn't get the 2-point convert for the win. They have only beaten FCS Stephen F. Austin and UTEP this year, and both of those came at home. Is this a vulnerable La Tech squad? Let's talk about FIU. They snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 34-15 win at Charlotte last week, cost the head coach his job at Charlotte. They put up 453 yards of offense, and McIntyre came into a situation that had a dark cloud over this school and this football club, and he's changed things here. Grayson James looked very good, 302 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and Tyrese Chambers back from injury, caught 10 passes, the most he's ever caught, for 143 yards. It feels like one team is moving in the right direction, one team's moving in the wrong direction, but the market has already moved. Has it moved too much? What's your plan here, Bobano? Take it away, La Tech, Florida International.
I honestly think Parker McNeil is going to be the quarterback here because he did get first-team practice reps this week for La Tech. Sonny Cumbie said, the head coach here, that game-time decision, but the fact he's practicing means he's probably going to – I think he's going to start over Landry Liddy, honestly. I think he's going to get that opportunity. He's actually played okay. And Matt Downing, believe it or not, was benched early in the season in favor of Parker McNeil. So this talk about how it's big loss, Matt Downing's been inconsistent. So he's had some good moments. He's had some bad moments for La Tech. I think if Parker McNeil plays, they'll move the football just fine because FIU's defense will lend itself to teams moving the football just fine against them. Although last week, I will say they shut down Charlotte, but man, that's been few and far between, those kind of defensive efforts. Let's not forget, this is also a team that gave up 41 to Texas State, 37 to Bryant, 33 to UConn, 30 to UTSA, 73 to Western Kentucky. So it's still not a very good defense. It's still a bottom tier defense. But FIU, I think, can move the ball against Louisiana Tech here, Jimmy. I like over the total in this game, clearly. I like FIU. I liked FIU above a touchdown because I actually think you can't lay big points right now with this La Tech defense. They've fallen on hard times, Louisiana Tech, on the defensive side of the football. 48 against Clemson. You can understand why they gave up that many points to Clemson. 38 to South Alabama. 31 to UTEP. UTEP's not a explosive, high-powered offense, and they gave up 31 points, Louisiana Tech, to UTEP. 47 to North Texas. 42 in an overtime loss to Rice last week. This Louisiana Tech defense has gotten worse and worse. 3 straight games have gone over the total for Louisiana Tech going into this game. And look, the quarterback for FIU's got some talent. 34 points in a victory last week against Charlotte. He's a dual threat, Grayson James. He had 306 passing yards last week, one of his better performances. He's got some ability to run with the football as well. So I think we see points both ways here in this game. Best total we have is at Bookmaker, 56.5. I like over 56.5, minus 110, La Tech, FIU.
Let's get you that over 56.5. Over 56.5. Is that what was the juice associated with that?
Minus 110.
Minus 110. Wow. So your the Parker McNeil thing has thrown me for a bit of a loop. I did not. I need to figure out if that's the case. If he's announced in, does the market shift? Are we going to get another point and a half? Like, will he then get the full touchdown for FIU?
I don't know on a Friday night, non-Power 5 game if it'll move that much, but I'm sure it'll move a little bit toward Louisiana Tech if Parker McNeil is in. Liddy, by the way, went 3 for 6, 38 yards, but he did have 2 touchdowns. Again, it was minimal duty against Rice because it was later in the game when Parker McNeil left the game after and Matt Downing replaced him, and then Downing got hurt. But, even though Liddy is not very experienced, he's going up against one of the absolute worst teams, worst defenses in college football. So he could even come in there and make some plays. So this is one of those games where with the over, I like it regardless of whether McNeil's in or not. I think Liddy could still be able to move the ball for them.
Let's just do one quick scroll down FIU's home games here very quickly. Then we're going to move on to MLB, and then we have Dutch Boy Fresh joining us for NBA. So let's just do one, because at this point, I'm going to be sitting here with no college football action when we saw everything so clearly.
By the way, I do have a bet on FIU. I did bet FIU, but I got +7 before the move. That's the thing. I didn't even get the best number because it opened at 9. I got 7, and it's down to 6 now. So that's the issue. I agree. I think this is a defense you can't lay big points with. And they're 0-4 straight up, 1-3 against the spread on the road this year as well, Louisiana Tech.
And Alec loving the over here as well. Great to have Nick C rolling with us too. He's on BYU, ECU over 63.5. So they play UConn at home. They lose 33-12. They play UTSA 30-10. We know what UTSA's offense is capable of. It's not horrific. And then they beat Charlotte in Charlotte, cost the coach the job there. Okay. I've got to figure out what the hell is going on with Parker McNeil. And so unfortunately, damn, I was really hoping, thank God we moved on those 2 spots in the CFL. So I have some football action, but I was hoping to have something here after what we've done this year. But if it just doesn't correlate, we don't do it. And that's
you're on the Montreal, Toronto under and Ottawa, right? Those are the 2.
Yeah. Ottawa money line. All right. So Bobano's on the over 56.5 in La Tech FIU. And we have stayed off of East Carolina BYU. By the way, NCAA football spreadsheet play of the day is in from our very own Ron Crawford. He is on Oklahoma money line. That's the spreadsheet play today in college football. All right, it is now time to break down game 1 of the World Series. This is going to be a lot of fun. For this breakdown, we bring on the host of Say Hey Plays to join Bobano and myself. Please welcome to the show, Jose Bouquet in the house. Jose, how are you?
Doing all right. I'm excited about the World Series to start. It's been a minute since we've had baseball. I've kind of been lost. Kind of just been like looking around like John Travolta. Don't know what to do with myself. Not betting the association, obviously. But I have had some hockey bets, and it's been a whole lot of fun, but I'm glad to talk baseball again.
It is time. It is time. By the way, Spenny Penny Bombs just dropped a pick 5 for Keeneland. And a week from today, we'll be, at this moment right now, hammering Friday Breeders' Cup action. It won't be a Breeders' Cup race till I think race 6, but we will still be hammering this action. All right, let's get to work, fellas. Thank you all so much for joining us here at Pub Sports Radio. It is time to talk World Series Game 1, 7:45 p.m. Eastern. The Philadelphia Phillies, 87-75, 40-41 on the road at the Houston Astros, 106-56, 55-26 at home. We're at Minute Maid Park. Let's go over the line history and where the cash is at for this very exciting pitching matchup that we have. And let's start with the line history with Nola Verlander. From a line history side of things, the Astros opened up at minus 170, and there hasn't been a ton of movement. It stayed pretty. The first move back on the 24th, so back on Monday, was towards the Phillies. So the Astros opened up minus 170. They get down to minus 153. Then there was buyback on the Astros to take them up to minus 180. And now they're at minus 166. So from the opening line, there's been a 4-cent move to the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's take a look at the total here. Total opened up at 7. That was minus 120 to the under. It's now minus 130 to the under. So it's basically a 6.5. You have to pay if you want to move it to under 7. If you want to go over 7, though, you get a nice juicy plus price. It might be a fun way of doing things. Gerardo Hernandez is on no-run first inning. Rance is on Phillies or the under. Andrew G says Verlander getting touched today. Nick C says Jose betting Sox money line in the World Series. Ethan Payson says I absolutely love the Astros. Wheeler's being the better pitcher, but it's not Wheeler tonight, Ethan. It's Aaron Nola. Nola, 11-13, 3.25 ERA, 0.96 WHIP, 235 Ks and 25 innings in the regular season. His last start was not pretty. His last start, he went 4 2/3, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 homers, 6 Ks, no walks, and 8-5 loss to the Padres, which has hurt his playoff numbers. 17 1/3, 7 runs, 6 of which were earned, 2 homers, but 18 Ks with 3 walks is pretty nice. And he was very good on the road all year, 5-9 with a 3 ERA and a 2.27 batting average. Let's take a look at where the cash lies for this one. Sports Insights has given full line value to the Philadelphia Phillies. 27,186 tickets in, 48% of the tickets, 67% of cash on the Phillies. Then 66% of tickets and 84% cash on the under. Verlander on the other side, he does not have very good playoff numbers either because of that first start. But his last start, 6 innings, 1 earned run, solo shot, 11 Ks, 1 walk, and a 4-2 win at home over the Yankees. He was very good at home all year, 10-1, 1.64 ERA, 201 opponent's batting average, and 1.75 ERA, 0.83 WHIP throughout the season. Lee Davis says runs. Let's start with you, Jose Bouquet. Phillies, Astros, game 1 of the World Series. Take it away.
So most people, I think, know my position on the Astros. I think they're going to complete the perfect postseason. It has not been done since the Big Red Machine Reds, 1973 or 76. I forgot to look up that stat again. I think it was 76. I'm not sure. But no one has completed a perft postseason since
Who played for that team? Hey, who played for that team?
Johnny Bench, I got you. And shout out to Venezuelans on that team.
Yep.
Here we go. We got homies on there. But yeah, shout out to Johnny Bench and all those gangs. But the point is, I think that the Astros are just a superior squad. They have been the whole year. Obviously, it's worrisome that run value, whatever we're calling it nowadays, is on the Phillies. But I think that it's going to be a very fun series to watch. And then I think all these games are going to be close. But for my game 1 specific bet, I took team total over 3.5 for the Astros here. I also, of course, I did bet Astros sweep the series plus 900. I can give you guys all my bets that I made on this game, and I will. But I just, at the end of the day, it's the experience of the Astros being here several times before. I think the Phillies will be gripping the bats a little tighter in game one. I also think JV having, that rocky postseason start helps us a lot. Nola and Wheeler have been sitting there in a while, as someone said on the chat. I think ultimately that rest and rust advantage will lie with the Astros here. If I'm betting full series, I'm obviously taking the Phillies. I'm not going to lay the juice with the Astros. But if you're going to bet the Phillies to win this series, I think there's better options. Like I think someone else said as well. My futures bets on this series are as follows. My only bet on the Phillies is for Rhys Hoskins to win MVP at plus 2,000. Harper is like plus 500. If you're going to bet the Phillies to win the series, you might as well bet that because it's kind of written in the stars that Bryce Harper is going to win the World Series MVP. But if anyone's not going to do it, if anyone's not going to bet it or be him, it's going to be Rhys Hoskins, who's just as hot. Philly guy, been there for a long time. But that's the only thing I really have on the Phillies. All the other things I have on the Astros, Bregman, the MVP, plus 1,400. Everyone knows my Jordan pre-postseason bet, plus 1,500. I have the Astros to win the World Series pre-postseason at plus 425. And I bet the Astros sweep at plus 900 as well. I also would not be opposed to a first five under in this as well, but I didn't bet it because it's kind of weird betting a first five under and then a full game team total over on the Astros. So yeah, I like the Astros in this game.
And what did you why don't you decide after we hear Bobano's breakdown what you want to make official here for our record keeping purposes? Sebastian says, I think those 5 days off took any momentum from the Phillies. So I think it's a strong game today for the Astros. We have our cappers on both sides of the fence here. Let's see what Bobano has to say. Game one of the World Series. Ian, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, this to me is going to be a series that I'm probably going to be doing more watching than betting. Just sitting back, enjoying it. It's a World Series. It's the end of the baseball season. To me, I have no reason at all to step in front of Houston. They've won every game in these playoffs. They've been dominant. They've just been running over teams. They're as complete a baseball team as there is. Lineup 1 through 9, starting rotation 1 through 5, a bullpen, which every single arm comes out of that bullpen, and they get the job done. And what a revelation that they have been, that entire group. They've been outstanding. Presley, I never thought Presley was going to be this closer for the Houston Astros, and he's just been automatic. They're just complete in every position more than Philadelphia is. So I'm not stepping in front of Houston. That being said, you're paying a decent price to back Houston game one, Houston in the series. And there is some magic going on with Philadelphia. Karma, there's some good vibes. They're finding a way. They've got that special dig down mentality, and all their best hitters have shown up in the postseason. Rhys Hoskins, Bryce Harper's been a monster. I remember when he got off to this horrible start with Philly a couple of years ago saying, what a terrible thing that they've got this noose around their neck and that big money that they're paying him. Well, he's earning it right now. So we got to give him that. He's earning it and then some for the Phillies. But at the end of the day, I think the difference in this series is going to be after Nola and Wheeler, you've got a lot more question marks with the rotation. And the bullpen just doesn't have that strength at the back end that the Houston bullpen does. That's probably the difference. So I'm not going to be betting many sides in this series because I don't want to really go against Houston. They could run the table. They could sweep Philly. But Philly, with their special little ingredient that they have right now, where they're just finding a way, they're having this magical run, they could get a game or two. I think it's very tough personally for me to gauge that. So most of my betting in this World Series, whatever it is, and it's probably going to be minimal, is probably going to be totals more than sides. And I do like over 6.5 tonight in this game at minus 120. I think Nola is going to find it much more difficult to navigate this deep, patient Houston lineup compared to what he's faced so far. And look, I'm not sold on Verlander just mowing down this red-hot hitting Phillies lineup. I mean, let's look at Verlander. I mean, he got roughed up by Seattle. I know he pitched better against the Yankees, but boy, I'll tell you what, he was laboring a little bit in a couple of those innings. And go and look at Justin Verlander's World Series track record and ERA and all the numbers he's had in the Fall Classic. Nothing classic about it. It's not been great. So I think there's reasons. And again, I find in these layoff situations like this, the pitching falters even more than the hitting does. So I think at 6.5, with what these lineups have shown the capabilities of doing, Philadelphia against Atlanta, Houston really all throughout the playoffs, you could get there. You could asking to get 7 runs combined with these two is not a lot to ask, especially because I think Nola's taken a huge step up in class here in this game 1 with this Houston lineup. And Verlander's got that shaky World Series track record. Like his ERA is close to 5 in his career in the World Series. So I'm going to go over 6.5 minus 120 at DraftKings.
I like the look. I would roll that way too. So that's why I'm on the team total over 3.5. So I like it.
And is that what you are making official here for the show, or is there anything else, Jose?
That's it.
For Bobano, it's got the 6.5. But Jose, what are you making official?
I'll do the 3.5. My record's so bad nowadays, Jimmy won't even show me what the show record is. It's gone to shit. So I guess I can't make all my futures official. But they are a bet and they are official for Say Hey purposes. So shout out to Say Hey plays. But yeah, no, this is the game I'm the most worried about for the sweep. Truthfully, obviously, game 1 is just got to get that one under your bag. And Verlander has been shaky, but all the rest of the pitchers, I feel great. And what's funny about these teams, obviously, they met in the last 3 games of the regular season for each one of them, but they haven't even, none of these pitchers have really seen the other lineup a lot. You know, I kind of tossed out the last 2 games on the first game of that series because obviously game 1 of that series was Nola versus, I think it was Framber. I don't even remember now. It was Nola versus McCullers, maybe? I don't remember. But it was a huge game for the Phillies because that was their clinch and get in game. And the rest of the games, the next game they lost 10-0 because they were all fucking hungover from the celebration. I remember that because that was so easy to bet on the Astros that day. And in the last game of the season, no one cared about. So this is a fun matchup, and I like the no one's seen each other aspect of it. Verlander hasn't seen the Phillies in a long, long time. And like I said, you got to toss out those recent regular season starts for these guys. So I do kind of like the over as well. But the key for the Astros is get Wheeler and Nola out of the games, and then they'll be good.
And do you think the more comfort the Astros get with this Phillies pen, the better? Whereas it might make sense to hold off on betting the Astros until we can get deeper into their bullpen. These first 2 games, you have Nola and Wheeler. Do you really want to go against, because I can understand believing in this Astro squad. It's pretty easy to do that. And I can understand that the 5-day layoff will hurt the Phillies more than the Astros because the Astros have been dealing with these big breaks for the last month. So I get all that. And then you'd have to take the Astros on the -1 line every game in this World Series.
Yep.
Is that an angle that you'd want to take, or would you rather wait until we can get past Nola and Wheeler?
I've had deja vu. I feel like we've had this conversation. I don't know. Maybe I'm dreaming. I don't know. But I told you this, I think. I'm going to take Astros -1 for the rest of the series. This is just the one pitcher I don't feel as comfortable with. You know, and I'll say this. If the Phillies find a way to win one of these 2 games, I'd be a little concerned if you're an Astros backer. I'm a little concerned because I only have them 4-0. I obviously have them in my World Series. But if they win one of these 2 games, the next 3 in Philadelphia, they're undefeated in Philadelphia this year in the postseason. That environment matters. I've said it hundreds of times at this point. So just be a little concerned, but I'll tell you this. I believe in the Astros.
What a difference a run to the World Series makes for Philadelphia. I remember midway through the season, I'd see Citizens Bank Park there, and it was like barely half full. And there was no atmosphere. There was no ambiance in that stadium whatsoever. And now you look at the way they were going nuts in that NLCS when they won those games against San Diego. What a difference. And yeah, that's a strong home field when they're there and they're accounted for.
Now they're hungry.
Yep.
They're hungry.
I got my Doc Holliday 34 Phillies jersey right there. I also have my Nolan Ryan Astros jersey, which I have not worn since the cheating scandal.
Good documentary. Good documentary on Nolan Ryan on Netflix.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. All right. I feel like I'm going to move on the Astros -1.
Like, to me, it feels like the Astros are totally unbeatable with the way they've rolled, but at the same time, Philly's got a special magic going. that, and I've seen this before, that the special magic has toppled over the dominant beast at playoff time. I remember those Giants teams were a lot like that. You know, they had that special magic, and they rode it with Bochy and Hunter Pence and Buster Posey and Crawford and all those guys right to a World Series multiple times.
The Phillies had a much harder route. They had to play tougher teams. The Astros had.
They are the tougher team, the Astros. That's the issue.
But you don't think the Phillies beat better teams than the Astros?
I don't. I do not. No, the Astros have always been like 1 or 2 in the power rankings in my head, you know.
Oh, of course the Astros have been there, but the teams that they beat.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've had a tougher road, but at the end of the day, the Phillies have not seen, like, let's just think about the Phillies beat the Braves and Max Fried, who I love Max Fried to fucking death, but he's not a number one guy. Like, he's not top tier ace. And let's think, who else is the Phillies? The Padres, Yu Darvish. I still don't think he's a top tier ace. Joe Musgrove, no thanks. I think that they'll just face the best pitching they're going to face here by far in the postseason. You know, Verlander, postseason struggles be damned. The World Series struggles be damned. I still have confidence in him at the end of the day. And he's the pitcher I'm most concerned about at the end of the day. It's Framber, my fucking guy at the end of the day. I love him. He's a postseason beast. You've still got
Christian Javier. Yeah, he's been really good.
Oh my God, he owed the Yankees. First of all, that start was hilarious. His numbers against the Yankees are great. But I just think at the end of the day, all those starters, aside from Lance McCullers, are probably just as good, if not better, than the aces they faced on the other squads.
That's fair to say. I don't think I want to open my World Series account tonight. You know, but the public is not on the Astros. It's 50-50. 52% of the tickets on the Astros, 48 on the Phillies. It's the bigger bets have come in on the Phillies. And that doesn't necessarily mean sharp action, really. When we get to the World Series, there's groups that come in and make bets, that it's not the same as in college football and in other situations. Well, I've got I don't know if I'm going to open it with it. For me, it's the Astros or nothing, but I'm on the fence right now. Bobano on the over 6.5 at -120. Jose on the Astros team total over 3.5 at -120. Pimp slap play today. Phillies Astros first 5 under 3.5. Thank you guys both for joining us. And Jose has broken this game down completely, and it's on YouTube right now on our YouTube page. So check that out. This is going to be fun. DC Capper says Philadelphia Phillies +140, says make that cash tonight. And I love it. I love it. So Jose, thank you. I know you're going to be sticking around while we break down NBA, as you are the producer of the show. You're the back. Oh, come on. And Bobano, thank you for breaking down the whole card with us. Love it so much. Good luck in your college football action, especially tomorrow when you host NCAA Pub Up. And are you able to come back to us for NFL football this Sunday? Are you able to join us?
Yeah, I'll be on NFL Pub Up if you want me. Cool. I'll be there. 11 a.m. hour, of course. But yeah, I'll definitely.
I have a question for Bobano before he goes.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah.
Bobano, are you on Oklahoma State this week?
I wouldn't be on the other side. I don't know if I'll be on Oklahoma State, but I won't be on Kansas State. I know that. But yeah, great stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll be back on the college football Pub Up with DJ Big. Hopefully DJ Big Boss is back. I know he was under the weather last week, but hopefully he's feeling better. He can join us. Big Ragu, Connor Mack tomorrow, 10 a.m. I'll be on the NFL Pub Up 11 a.m. hour with you, Jimmy, Sunday. And I should be back also for Monday Night Football, the live stream. This week, which is what is it? Bengals and
Browns.
Yep.
Yeah, nice little match.
There for that first half. Yep.
Jamar Chase out and the Sharps all over the Browns even before the Jamar Chase injury. So lots to talk about there. And don't forget our Packers Bills Sunday nighter. Yes. Bobano, great job. And Bobano won't be here next Friday.
Later today with Billy Briz and Ski Profit with me.
Nice. That'll be great. And there won't be next Friday. You got next Friday off of this show because we're all horses.
Oh, yeah. The horses, yeah.
Okay, there he is. There he goes. Bobano into the night. Our next guest had the final single performance of any guest that I've had in my 5-year career doing this publicly. He was a taint hair away from being our first 60% capper over a season long against the spread, and in totals 59.8%. He was so close, but it was still the finest performance that I have ever had as part of our show, and I'm really excited about having him here to open up his NBA account and to join us on Fridays. I hope we can make this a thing where we got Dutch every Friday. We got to talk about that, but God, I would love that. Love working with this guy. So without further ado, the season debut of Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, my man. I can see the numbers going up right now that you're on the show. What up, my man? How are you?
Jimmy the motherfucking bed. Salute to you, my guy. All the real ones holding it down in Wi-Fi land. It's all love. Hey, you know, the NBA is a hell of a drug. And you're looking at the plug. Yeah, man. Good to be back with you, man. Another season of the association. Ready to break bread on a fresh Friday and hit him straight over the head, my man.
Oh yeah, Fresh Fridays. Yeah, man. Oh man, this is
kind of where we started at, right?
Yeah, it's right, exactly where we started at, man. I love it. Everybody very excited in the chat to have you in action, and we have a huge Friday card. Fresh Fridays, man. That's exactly where we start. I love it, man. The circle is complete. Yeah. Let's get right to work. Dutch Boy Fresh here on Pub Sports Radio. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Atlanta Hawks 3-1, 1-0 on the road at the Detroit Pistons 1-4, 1-1 at home. We're at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Atlanta playing at a pace of 101.88 possessions a game, while Detroit at 101.20. We will start with the line history here. The Pistons open up plus 6.5 at -105. They're now plus 6.5 at -112. Now, they did get to 7. And they also got to 6. They opened at 6.5. And this is interesting. So they opened at 6.5, and that lasts for 3 minutes at Pinnacle. 3 minutes before it moved to 6. So the early cash, they waited for it to open up, and they hammered the Pistons. And then, you know, what we're talking then 18 hours after that, Atlanta starts getting touched. Atlanta moves up to 7. And now it's come back pretty much where we started, a 7-cent move over to the Pistons. From a total perspective, it opened up at 227.5, and it's now at 228.5, but it got up to 229, and it's come back. From a cash flow perspective, 9,545 tickets in. There's only one team on this entire board that Sports Insights gives more than 10% line value to, and that is full line value on the Pacers. That's it. So we don't need to talk about anything else. It's just the Pacers is the only team that they deem worth here. But Hawks Pistons, 9,545 tickets in, 31% of the tickets on the Hawks and 56% of the cash. So the big bets are coming in on the Atlanta Hawks. Then you have just 23% of tickets on the over, but 74% of cash on that over. Hawks beat these Pistons 118-113 here in Detroit on Wednesday night, and Bogdanovich has changed this team quite a bit. 33 points. He's averaging 23.2 on the season. Jaden Ivey was out with a non-COVID illness, and Cunningham continued to not look good. 7 turnovers, didn't score in the fourth quarter. Now, yeah, he put up 26 points, but he took 25 field goals to get there. Trae Young, 35 points in the game, and he was 1 of 7 from 3. John Collins, 19, 11, and 4 blocks. And Collins and Clint Capella were pretty nasty on the boards in the fourth quarter when the Hawks took over the game. Let's hear what Dutch has to say, opening up his account here on Bending with the Bag after such a spectacular year last year. Take it away, Hawks Pistons.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy DK. Also BJ with the you know Dutch going back with this game. But you know, with Jimmy in the morning, I give him a little bit more. You know, do I have a bet on this game? Absolutely not. But I do believe there's value here with the Detroit Pistons. Atlanta has Milwaukee on deck tomorrow. So I believe it's a look ahead spot. Obviously, they played just the other day. So they're 0-5 ATS. In Detroit, Atlanta is. Pistons grimy little basketball team. I think they might fuck around and win this basketball game. But nothing I know, no real need for me to bet this basketball game. I'm not going to make anything official. I might bet this game. I might tweet it out because the more I look at it, I do want to be on the Detroit Pistons, but I don't really. This is not a basketball team I like to back. You know, if you fuck with me on NBA Pub Hub, you know this is just a team I just don't really back. And Atlanta's a team I fade on the road, so it's kind of a tough game for me, Jim. But I do believe if you're going to touch this basketball game and you want to bet this basketball game, it has to be Detroit Pistons some type of way.
A Pistons or no bet here look from our Dutch boy Fresh. We have a ton of games on the card, so we could just move right on. Next up, 7 p.m. Eastern, Charlotte Hornets 2-2, 2-1 on the road at the Orlando Magic 0-5. Ugly start, but Paolo Banchero looks spectacular. Hornets playing at a pace of 102.94 possessions a game, while Orlando at 99.40 possessions a game. Let's go over to the line history in this one. We have Charlotte opening up as 3-point favorites. They are now 2-point favorites. The total opened up at 226.5 and has completely dropped. We're talking a 6.5 point move down to 220. We are seeing massive moves on total early in the year, while the books just aren't quite as sharp as they will be 40 games into the year. 8,952 tickets in, 71% of the tickets, 72% of the cash on the Hornets. But it's gone from 3 to 2. Then 64% of tickets, 87% of cash on the under, and the book's concerned about that under action. Very concerned about it. Charlotte comes in off the 134-131 overtime loss at the Knicks on Wednesday. Magic come in off their 5th straight loss to start the year, 103-92 at Cleveland on Wednesday. For the Magic, Banchero finished with 29 points. He is the 3rd number 1 overall pick in history to score at least 20 in his first 5 games. It's Elvin Hayes, Oscar Robinson. Wow. He also had 8 boards, 4 assists. Wagner, 22 points. And Bol now getting opportunity to play real minutes for the first time in his career. He went for 10 boards and 9 points. Orlando's not hitting threes. 29.9% right now on the season. 29.9%. And look who's trying to resurrect his NBA career over in Charlotte. That's Dennis Smith Jr. LaMelo Ball, left ankle. Terry Rozier, right ankle. And Dennis Smith taking the opportunity, running with it, 14 points and 11 assists. A 1-point move towards the Magic here. Do you agree with this market move, this huge move to the under? Take it away, Dutch. Hornets Magic.
Yeah, man. Good to see Mark Schellenberg in the chat. I see you, my guy. Ron Crawford as well. Mr. Dabby Cab, I see you, my dude. Yeah, this game here is crazy. These first 2 games are exact same thing to me. The Charlotte Hornets are, to me, a team I'm looking to fade, and the Magic are a team I do not really want to bet on. But I believe this is an Orlando Magic spot. Also, Charlotte has the Warriors on deck at home, maybe a little look ahead spot there with, Atlanta having Milwaukee, on deck as well. So I kind of low-key like this Orlando Magic roster. I understand why Wham Bam's high. He's a lot higher on him than me, to be quite honest with you. But I do see the talent. You touched on it a little bit, Jim. I like what I see out of Bol, man. I really do. They got injuries though. They're beat up early and often no guard. They had all these guards and now all the guards are hurt. But they got athletic guys, man. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. But I mean, come on, they got to win a basketball game eventually. So if you make me bet this basketball game, I would be on the home team, Orlando Magic.
But a stay off spot. When we have the look ahead situations for these teams, is it a spot that you think affects them later in the game or earlier in the game? When you know that they got the Warriors on deck, is it a spot where you'd want to fade them full game, or you'd want to fade them early and not put pressure on the full game?
I think maybe honestly you could look more maybe for first half a little bit there. They might start the game not really thinking about it, and then they get down a little bit and then realize, hey, we got to play basketball today, not tomorrow.
That does make sense. I think that's an important note. Very, very important note. I like that note. And so then it might be a Magic first half or even first quarter here at home trying to get their first win.
Yeah.
All right. Very, very interesting. A coin saying tickets 71-72 on Charlotte, and the lines dropped from 3.5 to 1.5. This tells you a story. It does. It tells you a story, and it's explained more when Dutch talking about who the Hornets have on deck. I think that this is an opportunity I don't think I'll let slip. They've only played one game at home, so the 0-5 record is not quite as bad as it looks because it's 4 road losses. Bo Jackson saying Magic alive dog here, and Spenny Pennybomb saying Cole Anthony out for them too.
Yeah, they're a little beat up. If they had another and Suggs out, if they had one of them, I'd probably be on this. I'd probably be on the Magic here. I think this screams Magic here, but it's not a good basketball team.
Joe Yurkovich says Hornets are too scrappy for me to take the injured Magic. Nice to have Joe Yurkovich in the chat. Says Hornets are not the type of team that looks ahead. I'll leave a bunch of question marks there, but we will move on. We're going to move on to next up Cleveland Cavaliers 3-1, 1-1 on the road to Boston Celtics 3-1, 1-0 at home, and injuries changing the complexion of this game. We thought Garland was going to be back. He had planned to be back tonight. That is not happening. He will not be in the lineup for the Cavs. And then on the other side of things, Grant Williams is serving his suspension. We know that Robert Williams is out. So now both of them are out. And statistically, the Celtics team is playing very different than they did last year. Let's start with the pace. They're both Cleveland is playing very slow, 96.37 possessions a game. Boston playing at 98.38 possessions a game. Let's pull out the line history here for this one. And by the way, Sammy Culmer locked in the Cavs plus 6.5 says, I think we have a live dog here. Let's look at the line history. These Cavs opened up at plus 4.5 at Pinnacle. They're now at plus 6.5. So it's just been a constant rise in those numbers. Let's take a look at the total here. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. We have it opening up at 221 and dropping to 219, but it dropped all the way down to 217. There was a huge drop at 8 in the morning, and it's coming back up. From a cash flow perspective, we have 11,865 tickets in. This is the most of any game on the board. 53% of the tickets and 65% of the cash is on the Celtics. Then you have 54% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the under. And it looks like there's been public buyback on the over, but the Sharps certainly on the Sharps are certainly on the under in this one, and it scared them enough to bring it down all the way down to 217. Astute Chaos is on the first half over, and we have LJ from H-Town who got in on the Cavs first half plus 3.5. Says Cavs 4-0 in first half prop bet, and Jerry Allen double. All right, let's break this down a little further. Cavs coming off their third straight win, 103-92 at home against Orlando on Wednesday. 5 of 19 for Mitchell from the field, and it was Mobley who stepped up, and Allen 18 points, 16 boards. Celtics had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 121-2 loss at the Bulls on Monday. Their numbers are so different. Last year, they were shutting teams down defensively. This year, they're not. Opponents are scoring 115.2 points per game, hitting 47.7% from the field, 40% from three. It's way higher numbers than we saw last year. This is a good one. Take it away for us. A lot of moving parts here at TD Garden, Dutch, Cavs, Celtics.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy, Matt Stone. He says it right here. Got them trees. The Cavs got them trees, taking all these rebounds tonight. And that's exactly what I look at it here. I think you touched on the injuries as well. I'm right with LJ, with the plus 3.5 Cavs first half. If you remember last year, we made an awful lot of money out the Cavaliers first half. But I like Garland in the lineup? Absolutely. But I believe the rebounding edge is going to be that much of a difference maker. Look for LeVert to attack as well. And I want Donovan Mitchell, obviously, to do his thing. But I think it comes down to Mobley and Jared Allen, man. I think they're going to control the boards an awful lot. Do I think the Cavaliers are live to win this game? I do. But I think, first half is where I want to take it. Plus, they're 3-1 ATS in this short, span in the first half in the 4 games. They've been up every game at halftime in these first 4 games. So I look at the Cavaliers to hit the boards, LeVert, Mitchell, to do their thing early, and then probably Boston, the closers, will show up with Jalen and Tatum eventually. I know Mr. Trifecta, Nasty Nate, I know he expects that to happen, but it ain't a trifecta spot in my opinion, bro. They probably win this basketball game, but I think there's value all over the Cavs here. Give me the Cavs plus 3.5 first half, Jim.
Let's get that for you. Dutch's first official play of the season here. Why do you think, if we could just see it from a different angle, why would the market be moving towards the Celtics? If you were to be backing the Celtics, what would be? Is it just simply Garland's out, and that's why the move is happening?
Well, I do think also another thing is why I stay away from full game here is they're off their first loss of the season and they got punked by Chicago. Really, Chicago hit them in the mouth early and often and then stepped on them. So, people are probably expecting a good Boston team to bounce back at the house off a loss against the Cavalier team. With new additions and missing the head of the snake and Garland. So. I look at it more from where, I like the Cavaliers basketball team. Do I want Garland out there? Absolutely. But I've already kind of checkmarked on the rebounding issue to watch out without Robert Williams. They don't have many bigs. They signed Blake Griffin. That's a red flag to me. And now you're without, the other Williams. So I just look at it as, and you bring Jared Allen in there and Mobley, two of the better, bigger defending, rebounders in the game. I think they're going to work the boards, keep them in there. And you got enough on the offensive end to keep them in this basketball game. So I would say simply because of awful loss and without Garland and obviously it being the Boston Celtics.
And Dan Kelly saying the Celtics have 4 days rest, and the Stu Chaos saying that's exactly why he likes the first half over here. Bo Jackson saying Bickerstaff 4-11 on the road against the Atlanta division. What do you think? If this under seems to make sense to me because we know that the Cavs are going to be able to protect the paint better than they would have even if Celtics had one Williams. So they're going to be able to protect the paint, and they're playing at a slow pace. Is that why the Sharps are on the under? Do you see that angle?
Yeah, I do, but I don't have any really thing on this total here in this game. I do believe both teams I think could be very, very streaky from the 3-point line. So slow down the basketball game. Not much rim protection though here for Boston as well. So I want the Cavaliers to attack. I want LeVert and Mitchell to attack, and then of course I expect them to hit the board. So the total, real no fill on that, Jim. To be quite honest with you, I just know that Boston. When I look at them, they've been playing good. They have scrappy, good perimeter defenders, but they have nobody to protect the paint without Robert Williams being out.
Yeah, I like this angle. I like this. And then you're going to have a fresher squad with Boston in the third and fourth quarters. But the paint is going to be a tough place for them to be involved in.
Yes, sir.
So they're going to have to hit their outside shots. I'm going to be moving on the under. And the only reason why I feel like I can is because there's been some buyback and I'm getting a good enough number. Let's just make sure I'm getting that. Yeah, 218.5. Might even get a 219. All right, I'm in. So Dutch's first play on the card, Cavs first half. Plus 3.5. My first play on the card, I will be on the under. We got Nasty Nate, Mr. Trifecta in business. Top Shelf Play says Celtics 3-1 first quarter already this season. And Top Shelf is on the Celtics first quarter. Picks from Dave is leaning to the under. Coin has the Cavs at plus 6.5. Vipers right with me on the under 218.5. Slow Jams Arsenal says average total being 225.5 on Boston totals. Market caught on. Value on the over. Not here, and the angle for me that could easily be wrong here. I could easily be wrong, but if it's the Cavs that are going to be tough to score on, they're playing at a pace of 96.37 possessions a game. And if they're going to be able to dictate the pace a little more, then I would think that the total should be around 213.5. But we'll see. Let's move on. By the way, JP's on Tatum rebounds. 8 is at plus 112. Has hit 3 of the last 5 games. All right, let's roll on. Next up, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia 76ers 1-4, 0-2 on the road at the Toronto Raptors 3-2, 2-0 at home. Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. The slowest pace in the league is being played by the Philadelphia 76ers. 94.70 possessions a game. Toronto playing slow as well. 96.0 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here. And there was a lot of talk last night where I was with the guys about how the Raptors care so much about beating the Sixers, despise the Sixers, step up against the Sixers, and want to beat them more than anything and more than any other team in the league. Raptors open up at -1. They are now +1. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 213, -106 to the under. It's now -114 to the under. I took the under 2 nights ago and lost badly. I even live bet the under and lost that. These two teams met here in Toronto in a Raptors win on Wednesday, 119-109. 15 points by Siakam in the first quarter set the tone. And let's see where the cash lies here. We have 8,978 tickets in, 61% of tickets, 77% of cash on the Raptors, but they're dogs now. 49% of tickets and 64% cash on the over. And the under is now juiced. Siakam finished with 20, but had 13 assists. Gary Trent went for 27. All 5 starters had double figures, and Scotty Barnes came back from his ankle injury to score 16 and 10. The Raptors shot 54.8% from the field. So they shot 43.2% from 3, and the Sixers shot 44.4% from 3. I do not expect them to be able to shoot like that again. We took the over in Clippers Oklahoma last night and cashed it very easily because Oklahoma had just shot 4 of 30 from 3. We knew they were going to shoot better, and we knew they wanted to beat this Clippers team badly. I feel a similar thing here. I do not expect the 3-point shooting to be as strong as it was 2 nights ago, and I know that these teams hate each other. And Otto Porter, by the way, is taking a leave of absence due to personal reasons that we don't know anything about. Take it away for us, Dutch. Sixers, Raptors.
Yeah, Jim, this one's tough for me because it was the one game I stayed off the other day on my card. I have, and it was a clear, easy cap for me, and I just didn't pull the trigger on the Raptors, and it's frustrating for me now to go back here. Maybe I chase it here on the second time, but I agree with you here. I do. There's no fucking way I'm betting Glenn Rivers in the Philadelphia 76ers, and especially on the road in Canada. No fucking way. So it's Raptors or nothing for me here. You said it. You touched on a lot, and they play some type of way when they see the Sixers jerseys. Embiid, all that shit they got going. The Raptors really like to fucking put it on them. So if you want to bet this basketball game, I do believe you have to go right back to it with the home team. It's tricky, obviously, with playing back-to-back home teams, but we see what OKC did to the Thunder last night. So it's early, it's often, and this could just be another great value spot here, getting the Raptors, who they just fucking dumped the Sixers the other night at a -1, pretty much a pick 'em to do the same damn thing.
If this has got a playoff type feel about it, would you prefer if I'm thinking it's going to go under? I think I want that first half under when they're feeling each other out rather than the full game under. I don't know. It's just sort of my gut there, and I should be using more data analysis to make that call. If you had a free play on the under, but it was either first half or full game, would you have a lean?
Yeah, I would probably honestly maybe go full game here, just simply because I think the Sixers could come out hot a little bit, and maybe the Raptors kind of, we just punked you guys, and the Sixers show up a little bit, and then they get a little cocky, and then the Raptors click in, and what's Philly do what Philly do, and that's give it the fuck away. So yeah, I could see the Sixers maybe coming out a little bit hotter, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I could. I don't know. I could see them being playing better. Yeah. They shot real. I just do not see these two teams shooting the way they did on Wednesday night, and I've got to figure it out. Bo Jackson says, y'all sleeping on Raptors defense. What OG did to Harris last game, held him to 3 points.
I like that defense, man. They're athletic as fuck, man. I don't like Van Fleet from a defensive perspective, and I don't really like Gary Trent, but after that, I like everything they got.
Yeah, I agree. But, when a team goes on like a 10-0 run against the Raptors, I just think I love getting Van Fleet back on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
I
like Van Fleet. Yeah,
slow everything down, get everybody calm.
I like him a lot. I think he's an underrated player, absolutely. But they all, his one knock I would say is his defense.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, without a doubt. All right, I've got decisions to make there, but there will be one under being bet, whether that be first half or full game, and I'm not doubling up like I did on Wednesday night.
I think 76ers defense. Bo Jackson says that is not on par. Yeah, they're suspect. I don't know what they got going on over there. But when your best players don't want to play defense, it kind of trickles down. And obviously that's from Embiid and James Harden.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Indiana Pacers 1-4, 0-2 on the road at Washington Wizards, 3-1, 2-0 at home. We already discussed that the Pacers were the only team that was given full line value from Sports Insights. We're Capital One in Washington, D.C. Indiana pace at 103.10 possessions a game. Washington at 98.31 possessions a game. And I mentioned this a few days ago, and I know it's very early, but I've never seen such a juxtaposition. There's such a difference between some teams' pace and others before in the season. We've got teams playing at 14 and 16 possessions more than other teams. I've never seen that. It's always like teams are generally starting slow or they're all speeding up together. It's never a team playing at 108 possessions, game 109, and another team playing at 93 and 94. This opened up with the Wizards -6. They're now -5.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 230, now at 229. And I tell you, that's the reason why we're seeing these 6 and 7 point moves on the total, because the market is still confused as to what's going on. I do think that getting in early on totals is a must. And I guess I was waiting for each team to play 5 games, and I got to start doing that. Let's move over to the cash flow in this one. Let's see. And of course, 40% of the tickets on the Pacers, 59% of the cash. So we could have predicted that. So the Sharps here on the Pacers, the 74% of the tickets, 69% of the cash on the under. And what did that under do again? Sorry, it went from 230 to 229. So not much movement there. Pacers coming off their second straight loss, 124-109 at the Bulls on Wednesday. Turner made his season debut. He'd missed 4 games with a sprained ankle, and they only played him for 24 minutes. Wizards come in off their third loss in 4 games, 120-99 at home versus the Pistons on Tuesday. Kyle Kuzma scored 25 points, Kristaps 20, Barton 16, Beal 3. That's a win. Why did I say third loss? My bad. I barely slept. They beat up on the Pistons, right? And then the Pistons went back and sorry. Porzingis 16.8 and 7.8. Washington's had at least 5 players in double figures in 3 of their 4 games. Beal left the game with back tightness, and he returned in the third quarter. Something that we need to keep an eye out for here. 20.5 points, 6.3 assists. He's shooting 58.9%, but if he's hurting, that's a huge piece to the puzzle.
Right.
Take it away for us, Dutch. Pacers, Wizards.
Yeah, this one's tricky to me here. I don't, you said something about Bill, as well as KP. Something about KP as well. I know. So, and he's been lights out, man. He's been shooting 41% from 3-point line. KP's been playing real good. I actually like this Wizards basketball team as a team to bet on. Again, there's levels to this, and they ain't at that level, but I do think we will find ways to bet the Washington Wizards and win some fucking money. I don't like, I wanted to bet the Wizards here, and then I started looking in and seeing, well, maybe Bradley might go. KP issues. I just see it as, I see this, and why is the line only 5? And it's actually 4.5 -115 at BetMGM, and they were -2.5 week, opening night in Indiana. Beat them by 7. Didn't really +10 on the boards. The line seems low. It seems like a trap. Then I go and get a DM from Mr. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day, as he put right in the chat. It's the Pacers. So I'm just, something seems a little off here. But when it comes, and I don't really think the Indiana Pacers want to win basketball games. They're just not good, a basketball team, and they lose when they play DC, and specifically against the spread. They're 0-4 ATS last 4 meetings in DC, and they're 1-10 straight up last 10 overall versus the Eastern Conference. These motherfuckers just don't play winning basketball. But the number seems very tricky here, Jim. I think a lot of the average bettor will probably just go simply and bet the Wizards here. But my money can't be on the Indiana Pacers here. But I have been, I'm going to stay off this game here from a Wizards standpoint. But I like what the Washington Wizards had. Obviously, they lost along right now, but I like Gafford off the bench with Will Barton. They bring Achimura off the bench, and then, of course, the additions with KP and Kuzma. I mean, Kuzma's averaging 21. Bradley's only getting 20 a game. We still haven't seen the real Bradley yet. And KP's playing, the best basketball in a very short period of time that I've seen him playing an awful long time. So I do like these Wizards here, but I won't be on them today.
Yeah. Can we try, because this really helped me win college football yesterday. What would the Sharps be seeing in this Pacers team? Could you find that angle?
I couldn't. The only thing is that they just played the other night, and they just played, and they beat them. I really can't, Jim. I don't know why. I just don't get it. That's why I'm just like, I'm gonna throw my hands up and just not bet this fucking game. Because I see maybe some bullshit coming in with Bradley not being in the lineup or something. I guess they like, Buddy Hield and Halliburton. I think that they'll allow, the Wizards defense isn't really much, so it should be some points in this game. But from my perspective, I could not bet the Indiana Pacers here.
Spreadsheet play today on the Pacers. Sharps on the Pacers. Market moving towards the Pacers, but I can understand the trepidation here. Okay, let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, the New York Knicks, 3-1, 0-1 on the road at Milwaukee Bucks, 3-0, 2-0 at home at Fiserv Forum. Knicks playing at a pace of 99.92 possessions a game, while Milwaukee 99.17 possessions a game. I wonder, are the Knicks becoming a team that the Bucks would get up for? Because when they get up for teams, now I don't want to get caught up in the trend of last year, and obviously it's in my head, because when the Bucks were at home against a team that they wanted to beat, they would cash early. They certainly didn't do that against Brooklyn. They came back and dominated the third and fourth quarters. Knicks are coming in off their third straight win, 134-131 at home in overtime Wednesday night. Yeah, you can say it was a ugly win, but they've looked good to start the year. And I think it was that when we saw them in Memphis and we saw the Sharps all over them and they take Memphis to overtime, I think that was the sign that this team is for real. They opened up at +6.5, and now they're at +6. From a total perspective, it opened up at 223.5 and has not moved off of that number. We go over to the cash flow in this one. We have 12,521 tickets in. 40% of the tickets are on the Knicks and 71% of the cash. I mean, Sharps are believing in this squad. 63% of tickets, 87% of cash on the under, but the books aren't moving that under. Slow Jams Arsenault did move on the Knicks at +7.5. Sharon is on the Knicks first half. Top Shelf Plays is on the Knicks money line. Wow. LJ from H-Chance on the first quarter over 57.5. Let's hear what our guy Dutch Boy Fresh has to say. Take it away, Knicks Bucks.
Yeah, man. I can't lie. I really like these motherfucking Knickerbockers. I'm 3-0 with these bad boys, and I'm about to go 4-0 with these motherfuckers. Believe it. And the reason why I really like these guys is that bench. And I really don't like the Milwaukee Bucks bench. Obviously, right now, without Middleton and Connaughton, and then the signing of Ingles. When all that comes back, then we can talk a little bit more. But outside of Bobby Portis, what the fuck are we looking at that bench in Milwaukee? I mean, it's bum squad after bum. Wesley Matthews, fuck them all, George. They all barely lucky, really, to be on that team, to be honest with you, if you ask me. So Bobby Portis, and that's about it. So, and when you look at the New York Knicks, bro, they go 10, 12 deep. Obi Toppin is playing basketball. They got Derrick Rose. They got Quickly. I mean, this boy from, the boy from the Clippers, he's coming out. Hartenstein's coming out and playing good physical basketball. I mean, I like the motherfucking New York Knicks as a regular season team. We will be making an awful lot of money off of this team. Tom Thibodeau's got these boys playing basketball, and most importantly, they're efficient on the offensive end. They are 3-1 this year against the spread in the short span, averaging 122 points per game, second in the NBA, shooting 48%. That's right, the Knicks are shooting 48% from the field, 7th in the NBA, and number 1 in rebounding as well. So they hit the boards, they shoot the ball, and they're scoring. This is a team that we should be taking advantage of right now. The Knicks are also a team that, carrying over from last year, are a team that we like to bet on the road. 11-1 ATS last 12 road games overall for the New York Knicks. And the Bucks, to me, man, they're fucking a great team. I made money off of them the other night with the -3 against Brooklyn. But this isn't a spot. Are they going to win the basketball game? Probably. But the Knicks are super live here. I love the +6 here. The Bucks do have Atlanta on deck tomorrow. Now the number one. Now let me see here. Only averaging. Now they are number 1 in points allowed. Only averaging. They're number 1 in points allowed per game. So they play absolutely great defense, but they don't put the ball in the bucket as much. Only averaging 108 points per game, 24th in the NBA, and 68% from the free throw line. So the Bucks don't make free throws as well. We're starting to see that as, again, short span, but 68% is not very good. It's 30th in the motherfucking league. So from this perspective, there's no fucking way I cannot bet the New York Knicks here at +6. I think they're live to win the game, especially with Atlanta on deck for Milwaukee tomorrow. So give me the Knicks. I'm all over the Knicks +6. Look for, obviously, we know about the addition of Brunson. The kid is the real motherfucking deal. If RJ Barrett can just give him a little something, Julius is going to do his thing. Mitchell Robinson there to rebound and get his thing. And Fournier hit the open shots. I mean, this is good money right here, Jim.
I like it. I don't think it's going to be around for very long. I think this is going to end up. Certainly, it'll be 5.5 in about an hour across the board. I like it. I want to join. Dutch in on the Knicks, and I want in as well. It all correlates in this spot. I like it. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, the LA Lakers. 0-4, 0-2 on the road at Minnesota Timberwolves, 3-2, 2-2 at home. We're at Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Lakers playing at a very fast pace. I don't know what Darvin's doing. If I was coaching this team, the last thing I'd be like saying is sprint up and down the floor. I don't.
Bro, you got old ass motherfuckers out there, bro. Slow that bitch down.
It's crazy. Minnesota playing at 103.25 possessions a game. Lakers coming off their 4 straight losses to start the season, 110-99 at the Nuggets on Wednesday. Took my money, unfortunately. Wolves coming off their second win in 3 games, 134-122 at home on Wednesday night. I only had the Wolves first half -5.5. I should have had them. I should have been a trifecta spot. I left money on the table and really angered me that I did that. But this is a new spot. The Wolves open up -6.5. They're now sitting at -7. From a total perspective, it opened up at 227.5 and has moved to 229. We have Westbrook upgraded to probable, so he's going to be back in the lineup. We know that LBJ is probable, and then Davis sitting here questionable with the back injury. Dealing with this Lakers team, he's a game time call, but he participated in the morning shoot around. So a ton of moving parts in this one. We go over to the cash flow here. We have 8,133 tickets in, 59% of the tickets and 68% of cash on the Lakers. We've been seeing it in NFL, Sharps on the Texans and the Steelers every week. The Sharps are all over the Lakers against the Nuggets. I mean, are we just going to be seeing the Sharps backing the Lakers like they did with the Browns 3 years ago when the Browns lost every game all year and weren't covering? And then we have 51% of tickets and 66% of cash on the under, and they keep moving the total up. So this is tricky, but we have just the man for the job. Dutch, take it away. Lakers, Wolves.
Yeah, man. This is it, man. This is it. So I've done very, very well fading the motherfucking Lakers. As of the Knicks, I bet them they win. I bet against the Lakers, I win. So that's how I usually do it. But today we're going to switch it. I was on the Nuggets -5 the other night. And tonight I will be on the motherfucking LA Lakers +7.5. This is the amount of points I need to back the motherfucking Lakers and LBJ. And this Minnesota team is just the fucking Fugazi team to take advantage of too. The home team coming off a good win supposedly against the Spurs after they got punked at home against them the game before that. So you got the Pat Bev factor coming in. Who knows this team better than Patrick Beverly? I think these boys are going to be ready to play. I had to hold my breath and go to the motherfucking window with the 7.5. You don't give me a touchdown and a hooker against the Minnesota motherfucking Timberwolves, I'm liable to bet any team, especially a team that's 0-4, that's in dire fucking need of a win. Let's just be real, all right? They got LBJ. The Lakers got to win a game here eventually. Am I saying they're going to win this basketball game? I'm not. But would I be surprised if they do? Absolutely fucking not. So give me the 7.5. The number one thing here to me is obviously the Lakers got to make a motherfucking 3-point shot. I mean, they are fucking putrid, beyond putrid. Suspect as fuck from the 3-point line. They can't make one. I mean, so if they could at least shoot 30%, maybe low 30s and just make an open fucking shot, I mean, that would be fucking helpful, obviously. LBJ's got to attack. AD's got to be in the lineup, went through shoot around. I'm expecting him to play basketball. Also, number one thing to me in here is the rebounding. Minnesota's number 2 in the league in rebounding. So please, LBJ and the boys, bring your fucking game, bring your motherfucking blockout skills, and rebound the basketball. If you are competitive in the rebounding aspect of this game, there is no fucking absolute way you don't cover 7.5 here. I got the Lakers here, Jim, +7.5. I'm looking for LBJ. Lonnie Walker's done his thing, have a good game. But I do not trust the Minnesota Timberwolves. So I have to load up here on the 7.5, 1 unit, but I like this play.
The legal American books are all at 6.5. Some offshores are at 7, and you can get the 7.5 at -118 right now. Is that too expensive?
Shoot me the 7.
Okay, we can get you the 7.
Touchdown. I'll take the touchdown.
Okay, we can get you the 7 at a nice price here. But
it was at 8 at -115 on
wow.
BetMGM, and then right when I went to go back to fucking lock it in, it dropped to 7.5. I was like, damn.
Wow, yeah, it's moving. It's moving in the Lakers' direction briskly. We have a 7 at -108 at Pinnacle, and it's the last 7 it looks like in the offshore market.
Yeah, the touchdown's good money.
All right, a +7 at -1.
I might be drinking tonight. You bet the LA Lakers, man. You better have a bottle on deck.
It's funny you said that because I just have this image right now of you screaming at the TV. It's going to happen. Even if you win this bet, there's going to be a few points where you're just losing your shit.
I've been good too. I haven't been drinking, so I might have to get the makers tonight for these motherfuckers, bro.
You got to. Top Shelf, where did you get the 8.5? Because I'd like to.
Yeah, it was out there, bro. Yeah, that's actually, Top Shelf. It was 8.5 -115, and then it just dropped instantly to 7.5 on BetMGM. It was 8.5. I was like, fuck.
I'm very interested in this look, but and part of the reason why, and I need to, is because we all have these biases. That's why I always talk about the Undoing Project. When you lose on a bet, like I just did with the Lakers, your subconscious is telling you not to do it again.
Right.
And you have to, and I need to say it out loud because I know. I remember when I started in stand-up, a great comic named Ron Jossel, toured all over the world, great Filipino comic. He's just a spectacular comic. He said to me, your subconscious is an asshole. Don't listen to it.
Right. It's very true because perfect example is I got hit over the head on loaded up on the Mavericks against the Pelicanos. And then I knew the Mavericks, should have been my play yesterday, but I overthought it. Said, no, it's too easy. But I had a sour taste in my mouth of losing that money from Dallas, So probably a lot of people with the Warriors last night as well, after losing to, the Suns the night before. So we got to get that out. If we want to be more successful, we can't be like that. That's very true.
Ooh, this I want in. But it's like I'm getting fucking uncomfortable talking about it.
It's the Lakers, bro. It's fucking disgusting, bro.
Fucking shaky. Okay, Top Shelf, all good, my man. It's dropped to 6.5. Yeah, so we're seeing the market moving very quickly towards the Lakers. If you want, my stepdad is a shrink, and he would call this optional misery. So it's up to you if you want to go through 3 hours of watching the Lakers and having your money on it.
That's like you're signing up for some bullshit, bro. But hey, man.
So Slow Jam says it's called bounce back spot. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, I do too. Yes, sir.
8:30 p.m. Eastern. Next up, Chicago Bulls 3-2, 1-1 on the road at the Spurs, 3-2, 0-1 at home. We're at AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas, home of the Southtown 101. And Pub Sports Radio's headquarters. Chicago pace 101.10 possessions a game. The Spurs flying up and down, 104 possessions a game. Bulls coming off their second straight win, 124-109 at home versus Pacers on Wednesday night. Spurs had their 3-game winning streak snapped in a 134-122 loss at Minnesota on Wednesday night. Let's move over here and pull this. LJ liking optional misery. LJ, you can use it in all sorts of things. It works when you're arguing with your wife. Let's move over to the line history here. Bulls, Spurs. Let's go. We have the Bulls opening up at -5.5. They're now -5. The Spurs are a tricky team. The total opened up at 229. It's now at 230.5. We get into the cash flow here in Bulls, Spurs. 8,259 tickets in. 75% of tickets and 86% of cash on the Bulls. And the books are saying, we'll give you an even better line. Then we have 34% of tickets and 98% of cash on the over. And it's gone up. Maybe that is appealing to me with the pace the Spurs play at and the Spurs being at home. Take it away for us, Dutch. Bulls, Spurs.
Yeah, Jim, this one game I have absolutely nothing on. The Spurs are a very tricky team. You said it to me. The Bulls, I do not want. I just can't. They have Ayo as a starting fucking point guard right now. Obviously, and it's just I just can't trust that. Obviously, Levine is coming in, coming out. We don't know what we're getting from him right now. I think the Bulls are a better basketball team. Look maybe for DeRozan, to have a good game here against his old team, against his old coach. If you want to bet this basketball game, but yeah, I have nothing really on this one.
I think that this total is certainly in play. Can we get Vassal back? No. Both Vassal and Primo will be on the sidelines. Can you talk to me about that? We have Vassal and Primo on the sidelines. Should I not pay attention to what the pace has been in the early parts of the season and think that they may struggle to keep up?
I do agree with that. I think those are two big pieces, honestly. They've lost a lot there in San Antonio. Those are two guys I'm pretty high on, honestly. And especially Vassal, he spreads the court, helps him out an awful lot. But those are two dudes that I would want out there if I was looking at them to continue that pace.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's fine. I can leave that off. And we do see the Sharps looking at it heavily, but it's not moving up too fast. So it's not like the books are too worried, but they seem a little concerned. All right, let's move on to Jazz Nuggets Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. Both teams playing at almost the exact same pace. Utah 102.53 possessions a game, while Denver 102.50. AOD in the house. Great to see all you guys. Tori, Coker, Mad, Stoney, Rance, North Ender, Joe, Chris, Spenny, Penny Bombs, Top Shelf. Love having you guys rolling with us. Dutch Boy, fresh season debut here on the show. We're going to go to the line history next in Jazz Nuggets. Move over here. And we have the Nuggets opening up at -8.5, 5-cent move to the Jazz. But, and this is pretty important, this opened up yesterday at 2:44 p.m. at 8.5, and it only lasted there for 28 minutes before it moved to 8. So the early money came on the Jazz, and then the money on the Nuggets coming back. Let's see what the cash flow is. That will help us here. We have 6,430 tickets in, 23% of the tickets, and 60% of the cash on the Nuggets. That is a fascinating number. So it's clearly Utah coming in off their 4th win in 5 games. Look who they just played, the Rockets in the home and home. The Nuggets coming off their 3rd win in 4 games. The Sharps are saying the Nuggets are going to destroy this team. This number comes out at 8.5 with the books well knowing that they're going to be taking Jazz money. This is interesting. From a total perspective, 55% tickets, 66% cash on the under. This is very, very interesting. I can't wait to hear your breakdown. Take it away for us, Jazz Nuggets.
Yeah, Jim. This game I like. I haven't made anything official here because I have 3 plays I made, and you got them right now already. But there's another game I got on here on the board that I'm looking at. They're 2 first-half plays, and I think I might, depending on who plays in this game we're about to get to, I think I will like that game a little bit better than this one here. I like the Nuggets here though to smack them. I completely agree with the Sharps what they're looking at right here. To me, Utah. I mean, they're playing good basketball. They're getting the most out of it. They're doing what they can. I still think they're a defensive fucking liability. There should be some points in this basketball game because Denver can't stop a fucking nosebleed, but they are super efficient on the offensive end. So team total maybe here as well for the Nuggets. But I like that -5 first half. I just think that there might be a better spot. Don't want to force too many plays early. I know big card, but 3 or 4 plays for me is still pretty a significant amount of plays for me to have, Jim.
Oh, for real. No, it's early in the year. I get it. So we still have MPJ questionable. I thought the back injury management was just going to be a 1-game thing. Do you think it's possible he doesn't play here again?
I mean, they don't need him. So if he feels, I feel like, why play him really? I don't see the reason to play him. But they don't really need him against these boys, man. The Nuggets are deep, man. They just got to play some fucking defense. That's really what it comes down to. And they bring in Bruce Brown, and you got, Gordon. These are 2 defensive fucking guys, bro. So, but then again, when your best player, Joker, and, Murray, they're not really buying in on the defensive end, that shit contagious. It tends to trundle down. So, Joker and Murray got to kind of buckle down, play some fucking defense. And I think the Denver Nuggets, should really put it on a team that they're just simply level above.
It's very hard for me to move on these big spreads, but this just really seems, I mean, look at this here. They put out a number that you're going to find the Jazz appealing, and so they get 77% of the tickets on the Jazz. This is the book's trying to beat us.
Right.
I just don't know. I've always been hesitant, but this feels like a double-digit Nuggets win. This is one of those spots where I guess, I don't know, Jazz going to get the altitude and get hurt here. I mean, They just beat a really weak Rocket squad. Nuggets are 2-0 at home. What is the victory being? Let me just this very, very quickly, and then we're going to close up on NBA here. But let's just take a quick look at exactly what the margin has been for the Nuggets in their 2 home games that they've won them both. We know they just won 110-99, so then 11 points, and then they barely beat the Thunder by 5 points.
Yeah, they haven't been playing like that good of basketball. Their defense is bad, Jim. I mean, they haven't been playing good basketball. But I mean, look what the Thunder just did. They just beat the Clippers back to back. So, I mean, that's. But I don't. The one impressive game I've seen so far for the Nuggets really is when they went in there on Portland. But then again, Dame went out. So.
And Joe Chris saying, "Man, I'm not laying 8 with the Nuggets." The reason why I'm making such a big point of this is because we know the books are trying to beat us.
Right. And that's what I think everybody's saying. They're not going to lay 8 with the Nuggets.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. Our guy Dabby Cabs, he's gonna take the Clarkson over 2.5 threes. He's been cashing on that steady. Get it, my man. Get it.
God, I got to put this to the test. God, it's just okay. I think I'm going to move on the Nuggets here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it screams Denver here to me, Jim. The -5-2 first half. I think this team should be up by double digits by halftime.
Yeah, and again, I have a vividness bias of watching Sonny on the Nuggets first half and full game 1 of the season, just losing his shit.
Yeah.
Just
I lost. That was my top play. I mean, all my plays right now been 1 units, but that if you said that was my best bet on the card on that night. First half -4, 4.5, I believe it was, and then the number kept going down too before tip. I remember, I think it went down to 3.5, and it was just all bad, all bad. Yeah. So yeah, thinking about that too from a get back or kind of a revenge spot, right? So yeah, this should be Denver. Maybe Denver should be on my card here as well. They got embarrassed opening night.
They did. That's the idea. And then LJ St. Jazz have beaten the Nuggets 6 straight times.
Wow. Good stat there. I didn't know that.
Dabby Cab, I love that you guys are live streaming the Astros Phillies live bet stream tonight at Friday night. Dabby Cab, I'll reach out to you. Last night was a tough one for me, and I didn't sleep, so I'm kind of a bit shaky. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 10 p.m. Eastern. New Orleans Pelicans 3-1, 2-0 on the road. The Phoenix Suns 3-1, 2-0 home at Footprint Center, Phoenix, Arizona. Pelicans playing at 99.78 possessions a game, while Phoenix at 98.44. The big issue in this one here is the injury report and who's going to be in, who's going to be out for the Pelicans. And maybe you got a better idea of what's going on, because I don't. I just know it's a mess. Pelicans come on off their 3rd win in 4 games, 113-111 at home versus the Mavericks on Tuesday night. It was extremely impressive that they were able to do it with the injuries. This team has got depth and is excited, and the city's excited. And Suns coming off their 2nd straight win, 134-105 at home versus the Warriors on Tuesday night. Let's see if the line history and cash gives us an inclination of who's going to be in, who's going to be out. The Pelicans open up at +6. Now they're +7. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 225.5 and hasn't moved. And from a cash flow, we have 7,830 tickets in. 53% of the tickets, 70% of cash on the Pelicans. So why does it move a point? Why are the books saying we'll give you an even better number? 51% of tickets, 57% cash on the under. Take it away, Dutch. Pelicans, Suns.
Yeah, man, I like the Suns here. I like the Suns first half here. I wanted to see here if I wanted to wait a little more to see some reports come out. I don't, because CJ is questionable. I believe he'll go though. So I don't think there'll be no Zion and no Brandon Ingram. So a lot of love here for the Pelicanos. They're deep, they're this, they're that. After what they did to Dallas, Dallas pretty much overlooked them. I do believe they have a lot of talent on that team, but the Pelicanos, in my opinion, still don't have a fucking point guard. CJ McCollum ain't no point guard. He's nice. He ain't a point guard. So and then with Zion and BI out, their best player BI being out, and then obviously they've did a lot trying to get Zion back in the corporation. Big win against Dallas, yeah. But Phoenix is trying to play people kind of written them off a little bit. They got a little chip going on there. Monty's ready, got them boys playing good basketball. Obviously, they got a coach on the court with CP3 as well. So I look for the Suns here to come out early and get them. I like the Suns first half here. Maybe the Pelicanos can make it a game late. But, yeah, the Suns first half. I'll definitely have. I haven't bet this, but if we can get a good number here, I'm the more reports I'm getting here is that Zion and BI won't play. I was wondering if BI is out. Now I see he's out. I don't believe they'll run Zion tonight. BI is the one guy I don't want to really be in the lineup if I'm betting to get, if I'm going to fade him.
Yeah, I get that. He's playing at a very, very high level, Ingram. Okay, and there's some people in the chat who think that Zion is going to play. Durant saying that it's going to be a game time decision all year.
Yeah, see, if Zion plays, I get a better number, and I'm even happier with it. I don't give a fuck about Zion, so like I just care about the number.
Well, right now it's -4 at -106.
Yeah, so for show purposes, I'll make that official.
All right,
but I'm going to wait a little bit because if Zion does play, but I think I'll still be able to get a 4 around there.
Is this an important game for the Suns to send a message to the upstart Pelicans?
Yeah, remember how the Pelicanos they played them pretty well last year, didn't they?
Sure did.
I think they did. There was people, there was people thinking. So I think they might be a little happy not to have to see BI's ass out there, right? So they might let him know, hey, the bully's feeling pretty good on a Friday. But yeah, man, when the Pelicanos are healthy, watch the fuck out, Phoenix. This is one game right here. This is the Suns gonna take advantage of a beat up Pelicanos team who gave them fucking all they wanted in that series last year.
Whew, this is a wildly interesting spot here. And the only thing that's keeping me like I like the first half look. I like the messaging early, but still, you still got 47% of tickets on the Suns and 30% of the cash. So big bets on the other side. I like focusing on first half and not full game.
Yeah.
All right. Spenny says, I don't see how the Suns don't take this at home with all the guys out. They played good last game with guys out. Even McCollum is game time decision. All right, let's talk about the last spot on the board. It's been great having Dutch rolling with us on Friday. Houston Rockets 1-4, 0-3 on the road at the Trailblazers, 4-1, 2-1 at home at Moda Center, Portland, Oregon. Houston playing at a pace of 103.10 possessions a game. Portland 98.64. Rockets coming off their fourth loss in 5 games to start the season. Second half of a home with the Jazz, losing in Utah 109-101 on Wednesday night. Blazers come off their first loss of the season. It was costly. Dame went down, and they just stopped trying. Went down. They lost 119-98 at home versus the Heat on Wednesday night. Let's move over to the line history here. And these Rockets open up as 6-point dogs. They're now 4.5-point dogs. From a total perspective, it opened up at 228.5 and has dropped all the way to 223. And this was dropped. 228.5 was dropped yesterday. We're not talking like a way early line. This was yesterday at 5:40 p.m. at night. Then from cash, we have 56% of the tickets, 54% of cash on Portland, 50% of tickets, 75% of the cash on the under, and they're clearly uncomfortable with the under action. Take it away here, Dutch. Last game on the board, Rockets, Blazers.
Yeah, man. This. I don't even want to talk about this motherfucking game, Jim. Just to be honest with you, I was so happy we got my guy Luka the Don and Dame Time healthy, Dame Time back healthy. Those are my two dudes. When I can watch these guys play basketball at a high level, I'm very fucking happy. And Dame was back, and now he's not. And I'm fucking salty as fuck about it. And, there's a reason why I went to 5 down to 4. Simons is nice, man, but this bench is super fucking light. Super light for the Rip City Trailblazers, bro. Super light. I like the addition of Jeremy Graham. I like the rookie, the kid from Kentucky, Sharp. This kid is lovely, man. I really like this kid, but man, I don't know about this game. I guess maybe expect some points here. I know Portland's been playing some defense, but I don't think Houston can stop nobody. Houston's going to go out there and got guys that can continuously put the ball in the bucket. So, you know how they say that first game, Jim, after your star goes down, everybody rallies around. That's probably this situation right here. And the money coming in on Houston, you can get a better line here on Portland because everyone's seeing that Dame's out, seeing the 5. But I think this could be a spot here where you fuck around on a late night, you want your little action, maybe take advantage of that right here because I think that's key. They're all going to rally around Dame going down. Nobody in that locker room is too happy about that. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, I agree. If this hadn't moved 1.5 points towards the Rockets, I would move on the Blazers. It with the Blazers losing Dame and looking so bad once he went down, I think they're going to rally and its Blazers are nothing. I just wish the books weren't saying, "Oh, you want Blazers?" So because they're doing that, I'm going to stay off. So I get it. Great stuff from Dutch Boy Fresh. Great to have him back in action with us. Let's review all NBA action here. We have I got question marks around Orlando early. We have Dutch on the Cavs first half plus 3.5, and I'm moving on the Cavs Celtics under. I'm moving on the 76ers Raptors under. I'm not sure if it's going to be first half or full game. I need to study it a little more. Spreadsheet play today is the Indiana Pacers. Dutch is on the Knicks plus 6. His next two looks, Knicks plus 6 and Lakers plus 7. I've got asterisks beside both. I'd like to get involved with Dutch's looks there. Bulls, Spurs, we are off. I'm going to move on the Nuggets. This is a test. This is a test.
See, the Nuggets and the Suns were the two, those first half plays. But breaking it down with you, I'd like the Nuggets as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting test. I wish these tests didn't cost us money.
I know, right?
Suns first half minus 4 is Dutch's next look, and then we are off Rockets, Blazers. Well, Dutch, because we have you, we have a new thing that we do on the end of our shows, and we haven't done it all week. We did it last Friday with Wham, and we cashed it at just under 5-1. That is the Friends and Family Parlay. Let's get Jose Bouquet back in action. Friends and Family Parlay, you can drop, anything. They can be heavily juiced. Minus 200, minus 250, no problem. No problem at all. We just need winners here for Friends and Family. Let's get Jose Bouquet first up. Friends and Family Parlay. What's your look?
Astros money line. Easy. Plain and done. No worries. No
What is the line on that?
It's probably minus 170, mince 160.
Oh, great juicer for our parlay there, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
Way to go out on a fucking limb. Holy shit. I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to give you something a little bit better. Minus 110. Is that okay? The motherfucking Knickerbockers plus 6 is a beautiful thing.
Knicks plus 6 at minus 110. Knicks.
Yeah, you got to make up. You got to get us a +1 now, Jimmy, to make up for his bullshit.
No, you don't, Jimmy. No, you don't. Let's get a dub.
Give me a fucking run line, bro. Come on, man. Shit, I was fucking with you, Jose.
Yeah. Ooh, this is harder than I thought. You guys were so firing out.
Come on, man. Hey, what do you got? I mean, so far from what I'm talking about, might have to be the Nuggets, bro. Unless you got, what you got? So you confident in some other sport?
Yeah.
Are you looking somewhere else?
Yeah. Now I love this. Other people don't, but I love this. It's going to be a Saturday look. So if the 2 Friday spots cash, it'll be very easy for you to hedge if you want to just get a little bit back or however you want to handle it. I'm going to be on the Ottawa Redblacks money line on Saturday is mine. So,
all right, man. So now, man, y'all motherfuckers do some crazy. So parlay got minus 170. You got me sweating the parlay until Saturday night. Now it's 2-day parlay. Let's hit them though. I'm gonna put in the bet.
One for our last one, Dutch. One for our last one.
I'm gonna tell this one. I just got to sweat through Saturday now. And what is it? Is it Canadian football?
Yeah, and the Redblacks right now are minus 105.
There we go.
Depending on where you shop. So I am
minus 105. All right, I'm gonna tell that. What's the juice on it? What's the payout?
Minus just here. If I was to bet this right now, here we go. Oh God, I got fucking so stupid. I gotta prove I'm in the country. This fucking clown. Okay, am I fit to play? Am I not? Oh Jesus! What are you getting for it, Jose?
I'm calculating it as we speak now. So is the lovely Redblacks in the CFL. Let me pull that up here. Oh, the plus, it's even money, Dutch. So you can fucking be happy about it.
There we go. Make up a little bit for that 170.
Even money. 164 with my Houston Astros today.
Yeah, I'm getting plus 498.
Plus 4. Okay, so we got plus 500.
Yeah, we're right there.
I've got 50 cents on that. Let's turn it into 250. Let's go.
I love it. I love it.
Let's do it.
Our parlays seem to always be around that plus 400-ish range. And again, one for our last one. Let's do it.
Yeah, and if we only save it for Fridays, I'm fine with that too. I don't like throwing in these parlays every day. Just prefer once in a while.
Yeah, because I actually want to bet a little because I'll be looking, I'll be like, well, I didn't tell that shit in the hit. I'll be like, motherfucker. So I got to throw something on, a little tequila. But yeah, most definitely.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you all so much for supporting us here at Pub Sports Radio. Viper MB, Bo Jackson, Paul Trippy, Harold Williams, Alex Gagnon, Bo Jackson, Andrew G, Markel, Nasty, Nate, Rem, Most, Coco, Hyman, Vipe, Spenny, LJ, XL, Astute Chaos, Alex Gagnon, Joe Chris, Billy Friedrich, BJ.
I learned what a Hyman was recently, guys.
Thank you all so much for your support. Go out there and get that cash. Gary, we love you. Great having Dutch back in action. Follow him on Twitter at DutchBoyFresh. Enjoy your Friday night, Dutchy. Jose will be live for the Game 1 of the World Series right here on Pub Sports Radio. AJ, yeah, big score for us last night with the Knuckleheads. I need rest. I need fucking rest, dude.
Yeah, let's go. Let's everyone give a round of applause to one Jimmy the Bag.
I don't need the round of applause, but I need that cash. Go out there and get it. Thank you to our guests, Bobano and Dutch. Great job producing, Jose, and on behalf of all of us at Pub Sports Radio. Get the fucking money. Let's say, hey, look, makers.